Well, hello, everybody. Sorry for that intro foul. I don't know what happened with that. Well, anyway, welcome. Nice to have you here on our first show of November in the ending of daylight saving time, which is stupid. Let's
Yep.
let's stop
Yep.
that. But to
Dumb.
be honest
Yep.
with you, it's the least of our problems.
100 and what, 50 years almost since we've had the light bulb? Getting there.
Yeah,
Think
it's
we can
been a
maybe,
while.
I don't know, move on.
Yeah, a
Think
little
we can
bit.
move on.
Well, it's a remnant of World War II, right? I mean,
Yeah.
World War One. Sorry.
Right, right.
But a lot of people think it goes back to the farmers' almanacs and planting and stuff like that. But no, those guys had almanacs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always love that
Yeah.
argument, and it's like, well, no, just do a Google search and you'll find out what it is. But it's because of the almanacs, but yet the almanacs allowed them to not need it.
Mhm.
It's a weird argument. Nevertheless, history is well another conversation. But nevertheless, we are here today, and we're going to be talking about what is the future, and more
Uh-oh.
importantly, what is the modern world. That's our general
Uh-oh.
consensus today,
We're
because
getting deep.
we are. Because one of the things I hear a lot these days is we're trying to represent the modern world, quote unquote, and it's like,
Mm.
well, what is different from this moment than 10 years ago, than 100 years ago? What exactly is different? Please explain that to me. No? Nothing?
I don't well, I mean, what exactly is different from 100 years ago?
Or just 10 years ago?
Just technology, really.
Is our technology different now than it was 10 years ago?
Yeah. I
You
wouldn't
think?
say it's not dramatically different,
It's
but yeah.
hardly different at all.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely it's more powerful than it was. Let's say that. So what I mean by that is like computers, right? Processing power is greater, things like that. But otherwise, it's still basically the same stuff. They haven't really innovated too much in that, even in that space.
I'd say in the
Whereas
past
20
30
years ago,
years.
right? Yeah, it's what I was say. 20, 30 years ago, they really were just like bang, 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 bang. Now it's kind of just iterations of the same thing over and
Mm.
again.
And that's what I mean. They keep saying that they want to represent the modern world. And it's like, well, how is the world any different than 10 years ago? People are still
Right.
people. We still have the same things. We're still remaking all the old shit. We're not doing new things. I just don't understand the concept. And then at the same
Well,
time, of
I
course,
think it's a little bit of a flim flam, a little bit of a
oh, you think?
snake oil sale. They're
Maybe.
doing that because they want to either make changes or insert modern political nonsense or insert a bunch of gay stuff where it really doesn't belong or make
Mm,
sense.
mm,
Because for some reason, to these people, the modern world is just fabulous in every possible way at all times. It's just gay, 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 gay. I don't know. I go outside and I don't see none of that. So I'm okay with being the backwards one.
hmm.
I just want to know where this. I just want to know where where everybody else is standing. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, but I don't think even they live that life. I think maybe they'd like to, but I don't think that life exists. So when they say things like we're trying to bring it up to modern standards or whatever, what does that mean? First of all, there still hasn't been a television show that's even touched the depth of character development that Breaking Bad did in the last since Breaking Bad, 10 years.
Hmm.
That is still the peak when it comes to how to develop a character in a dark character, not a good character, dark character. And of course his side characters too, like Jesse. But I don't think any show has breached that level that yet, and it was definitely the first TV show to ever do it. So I don't know what you mean. Like, what's the modern standard? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, aside from the last year, up until 2022, movies have, especially movies, have sucked. They were so bad. And it was like objectively bad. And it wasn't just like, oh, it's just your opinion because you didn't like the story. No, there was some of that. But just everything was bad. From a
Yeah.
functionary standpoint, the only thing that got a little bit better, and in some cases quite a bit better, is the artistic style. And that's just because they can do it on computer now, so it's a little bit simpler. Uh, Other than that, pretty much everything else has not gotten better in the last 10 years at all.
No.
Nobody can sit here and tell me that even cinematography is better, and it should be. It's all digital now. It should be a lot easier to get that perfect shot.
Hmm.
But
Well, we do
there are
see
movies
glimpses.
from there's movies from even the mid 2000s, right? That have just this unbelievable cinematography. There is still not a movie, in my opinion, in the sci-fi space overall that touches Jurassic Park as far as like objectively speaking, not subjectively what your opinion is of the story, but the way it's created, the cinematography of it, the craft of it. That's why he's probably the greatest of all time. But Jurassic Park is the zenith that we have reached in storytelling in that genre. Still to this day, and that was 30 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know this is mainly entertainment channel, but entertainment aside, just
Yeah,
looking at life itself,
yeah,
another thing I've heard a lot recently is democracy is going to die, and I'm like, do these
good,
people not understand that America is not a democracy?
correct.
Do they not teach this in school anymore?
No, they don't. They actually genuinely think. Well, 'cause let's be honest. When they say democracy, they mean them winning. That's all they mean.
Yeah, no, I
They
get
mean
that.
their viewpoint consistently being in power, and no one else's viewpoint even getting near power.
Hmm.
That's what they actually mean. Because if they wanted democracy, then whenever anybody brings up a challenge to the legitimacy of the election, right? Anybody with any, especially a candidate, brings up then they would do everything in their power to validate the integrity of the electoral process
Right.
at all levels.
Well, I
You
mean,
wouldn't
we're
have all these deflections in this nonsense about how safe and secure everything was. I don't know if it was or it wasn't for certain, but I would like to. Why don't you? Why doesn't everybody want to know that for sure? If we supposedly have this great democratic process, right, in our republic, because that's what we are. Um, and by the way, most countries are republics or some form of republic. If we supposedly are supposed to trust that process, then it needs to not only be secure, it needs to be auditable at any time and as
yeah.
quickly as possible.
And
In
the
fact, it
original
should be done
founders
every year.
stated that very clearly.
Yeah.
Of course, we are supposed to be a constitutional republic, but we're not that either. And I
No.
agree, Elrod. That is true. But the thing is, I'm a historian, and I've dedicated my life to history. Pieces of paper don't mean anything. I've dedicated my life to it, right?
That's
And
right.
if I were to go back to ancient, we call it, it's kind of weird. There really was no place called Greece, by the way. But if we
That's
went back to what we, the that union that we call Greece, if I went back and I talked to them and I showed them and explained to them exactly how America is being run, do you know what they'd call it? An oligarchy.
oligarchy. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
because
And
that's
by the
what
way,
it
that's
is.
kind of how it was designed. I know we have all these nice these flowery terms for it, like democracy and power of the people. Yeah, as long as you were a man who owned property,
Yeah.
then you had all the power. So that's an oligarchy by design. Now, I personally think they didn't go far enough with their standards. It should have been more for any to have the franchise. There's no. I would love for someone who is a full-on democracy now type person to explain to me why anybody who's a crackhead, functioning or otherwise, should have the power to decide any law that's over my life.
Yeah. Well, I think, the one of the easiest solutions, because you can't do what really should be done. So you have to find a compromise. But I'd say the best thing to do would be each citizen has a certain amount of points depending on what they offer to the society, depending on your
Yeah.
job, whether you're married with kids, etc. Therefore, the crackhead only gets one vote. I mean, or has 1 point value of vote, whereas the doctor with 5 kids, married with 5 kids, that owns property and built his own little clinic has 20, or whatever. You know,
Right.
we
Right.
need to create some kind of balance in that. True, but I hear this democracy is going to die thing a lot, and I know it's just panic politics, but it's just what exactly is this modern world that we keep going clamoring on about, and therefore, what is the future? Because one of the things that interests me, being a student of history, and as much as I've studied it, what I found is that history doesn't line up. It's
Hmm.
sus. using modern vernacular.
Mhm.
Because the history that we have in the books compared to the archaeology in the ground and the mythology that we have, they don't line up. They don't add up at all, right? And therefore, the more you study, the more you understand that we don't really know what is what. We really
Right.
don't. How does that apply to our modern world? Well, everything is propaganda, is how I look at it. And of course, we do have a lot of propaganda. We got one group is pushing for one thing, and they seem to be on the winning track right now. But the interesting thing that strikes me is that they're so desperate for their democracy that they want to stop democracy. Isn't it weird?
It would be if I didn't understand these people very well, because you see, all politically minded people are liars. I don't know why. I don't know what it is in the human psyche that does this. But when you become political, deeply political, I don't
Hmm,
just mean your normal person who goes and votes all the time. Right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about activists. I'm talking about people actually putting in the work to try and get policy change, not just the people who vote when they're supposed to vote. But all the people who are actually in it, who are in it deep, they're not honest people. None of them are. They can't be because that's what democracy, quote unquote, is. It's marketing. And marketing is always lying.
right.
Always. So these people by the function of what they do cannot be honest people. So you have to pick your poison, you have to pick who you want to deal with. But the reason why what you're saying happens is because when you're a dishonest person, it's very easy to rationalize away being a tyrant to get what you want.
Mhm.
It takes integrity to not be tyrannical. And as our boy Abraham Lincoln once famously said, adversity, anybody can handle that. You really want to test a man's character, give him power.
Sure. From the mouth of a
Unfortunately,
great
he
tyrant.
failed that test,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, and it's interesting. Joshua mentions the American Social Credit Score. In China, of course, was the great where the great experiment of the social credit score is being used. And keep in mind, all the cameras and all the technology they have were not created by the Chinese; they were given to them by the Europeans, who are running the experiment. Understand that. That's not the Chinese doing. That's the Westerners testing it out the system, right? And
that's right.
I can tell you right now, the Chinese are balking against it in the most radical and violent ways. Because, one of the things, going back to history, is they keep wanting to tell us that humans are warlike, right? And we
Yep.
constantly make war, and they're just full, everything's full of it. But, I mean, think about this, though. How many people do you know that are quick to violence? Right? Um,
Many.
not many. But yet we're supposed to be this vicious, warlike species.
Mm.
So that's a deeper conversation I want to get into. But connecting to the social credit score, the Chinese are starting to push back really, really hard.
Good.
And You got to keep in mind, what they're testing there and what they want to implement in the West is this: you cannot exist in China without a smartphone. Understand that. You
Mhm.
cannot exist. You can't go to the supermarket and buy groceries. You can't use a train. You can't take a taxi. You can't use an airplane. You can't pass checkpoints, which are everywhere, right? You
Yeah.
have to have a cell phone. It's not just a card or an armband. They do that kind of stuff as well, to a point. But you must have a smartphone. Now, how much a smartphone is getting to in price right now? 2,000? It's
Pricey.
Yeah, $2,000. So somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 you have to pay because if you don't have that smartphone, you cannot survive in society. You literally cannot. In China, this has become a big problem because there's a lot of people in China who don't have them and they can't move anywhere. They can't go anywhere. There's so many of the people in the Sichuan province and which a lot of the power in China is generated, that they can't survive in what we call a modern world. They live on a barter system. Now, how
Right.
interesting is that? Because they can't go to the stores, so they have to trade with each other just to eat. And of course,
Wow.
keep in mind, people are starving in China every day, starving to death every
Mm.
day. So this big test that these European I'm assuming it's banking consortiums doing it, that they're testing in China. It's failed badly. So I'm wondering, do you think they're going to see that failure and just keep experimenting in China, or are they just going to say, "Ah, screw it, implement it anyway"? I wonder
Yeah,
because it's a failed experiment, done by those. And that's a lot of things people don't understand about China. The CCP is not in charge of China, not really. They're
no,
simply working at the orders of these Western elite, right? Who are doing
right.
all kind of testing and stuff in China. And this social credit score thing is a serious issue. It's serious. I mean, imagine not being able to go to a grocery store unless you have a cell phone that says you are clear to be there. Imagine that.
Mm.
Your freedom of movement being restricted so much. And imagine that you made the wrong comment on Twitter and you instead of being green you go red. Now you
Yeah,
can't go to any convenience store or supermarket or you can't use taxis or Ubers. You can't do anything because you're red. Right? And
that's
that's
right.
how they do it over there is green, yellow, red, which of course shows you how Western it is. That's not really a Chinese concept, is it? But that's serious. Imagine that being put on top of your life right now. Imagine that,
Mm.
where you had to make sure that your social credit score was high enough to simply be able to go to a grocery store,
Yeah,
and at a
that's
whim,
nuts.
they can turn you red and shut your entire neighborhood down.
Yeah, that's actually nuts.
But that's what
Um,
happens on a daily basis.
but I mean, we don't have to necessarily imagine it. We went through it in 2020 in a lot of places in America.
Yeah,
You didn't have your little shoot shot. You couldn't go places. Now, most places, as far as I know, all places in America have rescinded that largely because they were losing court cases left, right, and center, and they didn't want to deal with it. Um, but yeah, we got a little taste of it. How fun was it? Now, for some
yeah.
people, it doesn't bother them because for some reason, nothing seems to bother those people. I don't understand it. Uh, but for me, I found it utterly humiliating. Like the other day,
Oh yeah.
I had to. My wife was real sick all week. She's fine now. She had a little stomach flu. Um, but we had to go to like an urgent care to get her basically a doctor's note because her work wanted one, and there was no way we are going to be able to get her into her doctor because doctors are ridiculous nowadays. And so we just took her to an urgent care just to get a doctor's note. No big deal. Well, you while you're in any of these medical facilities now, ever since COVID, you have to wear a mask at all times. Any of them, even urgent care facilities. And it's just why? Like, for what possible purpose is that serving? One, because every single person, the moment they walk through the door, take it off. So what did you actually do?
Yeah, no,
And
it's
two,
ridiculous. Yeah.
all it really does to a lot of people, including myself, is make us not want to be there and make us it feels like they're trying to humiliate me. Now I know obviously the workers there don't that's not what they're doing, but it's a humiliation tactic to force somebody to cover their mouth. It has always been since the dawn of ever to force somebody into a mask. Why do you think they do it in Islam? It's designed as a humiliation tactic to the women. Uh, and all there's other reasons too, but that's part of it. And these sorts of things are stuff we've dealt with here, and it's amazing how many people have forgotten the nonsense that our politicians. I'm not talking about party because it was both parties forced on the American people that did nothing, had no effect, no measurable effect on anything, and made our lives hell for months on end. For some places, almost a year. Right? Your
Yeah.
life was heavily restricted from what it was just the year before. It's shocking how quickly people can adapt to that sort of stuff, though.
No, humans are good at that. That is true.
Yeah.
Well, let me give you another example here. It's happened in China that's caused a big uproar. And understand a lot of news is coming out of Shanghai, and it's mainly because Xi's main enemy is from the Shanghai group, right?
Yeah.
And China, even though it's supposedly unified, it's really still broken into its five geographical ancient nations, right?
Hmm.
And Shanghai group opposes the northern group, which of course is Xi, right, and his group. And therefore, now that she has the upper hand, he had his little reverse coup here and got rid of a lot of those guys. He's got his third term, which he's not supposed to have, but he got it anyway. And he's cracking down on Shanghai. He's punishing Shanghai
Yep.
for their political elite, is what he's doing. But I'll give you an example of what happened here just the other day, and and the Chinese are just besides themselves. I don't know what they're going to do. It should be interesting to see. But a little 3-year-old girl is living in a lockdown neighborhood. There's many, right? And
Hmm.
she lives in a tofu dreg building, which is what the Chinese the dregs at the bottom of the tofu is just you don't eat that garbage, right?
Yeah.
But they call all the kind of construction in China they call it a tofu dreg. It's a local colloquialism, and
Hmm.
they're living in typical tofu dreg buildings. They're just horribly constructed. The Chinese can't do shit right when it comes to things like that. And there was a gas leak in the building and everybody was trying to escape to get outside from it and stuff. But this little 3-year-old girl, got hit real hard. She was really sick, and they needed to take her to a doctor. Now, keep in mind, this doctor was literally 800 meters away, right? This clinic, right?
Hmm.
800 meters, right? That's not very far. So what is that? 2,400 feet, right?
Right.
And because they're in a lockdown area, the guarding on the outside wouldn't allow them out, right?
Hmm.
All she had to do was 2,400 feet to a doctor, and she'd have been fine. So she sat there on the ground and died with these people screaming and yelling to help this little girl, right?
Wow.
So what was the government's response to that? How do you fix that? What's the government's response? Well, they went in that neighborhood. They took all the children in that neighborhood. They tied their hand. And I don't mean hand to hand. I mean they tied their hands in front of them and then continued the rope to the next kid, tying their hands in front of them. Long chains of children. They throw them in these white pandemic suits, right? Because they're polluted, I'm sure, and they're literally dragged these children out of the neighborhood with their parents yelling and screaming to somewhere. And they haven't been seen. No one knows where they are, right? That's the Chinese government response to
Yeah.
basically them letting a little kid die.
That is
We'll
just.
just take the kids out and that solves the problem, doesn't it?
They are. Oh man. Look. Listen. Listen. The Chinese government is pure evil.
Yep.
There is nothing redeemable about the people in that government. There's nothing redeemable about them as a block. The entire CCP needs to go, and they
Oh,
need to
yeah.
be publicly tried for crimes against humanity. And I am not being facetious at all.
Oh, no, no.
That's what needs to happen to them.
No, that's definitely true. But here's the thing.
Yep.
This is a Western experiment being done in China, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
imagine that America comes underneath the social credit score situation, right?
Oof.
And for whatever reason, they lock you down because you need to be locked down because of whatever, right? And
Mhm.
imagine something like that happening in America, right? Because you know right well there are people in your community who would happily do it because they're pieces of shit. You
Yep.
know it. You've met
Well, they
them,
already did. They did in 2020
right?
with a smile on their face. They treated you like you were the bad guy if you didn't comply with every little edict that came out of that half Italian in the CD or the whatever it was, whatever branch he was in.
Fauci.
Um, yeah, good old Fauchmeister himself. If you didn't happily comply and clap like a trained little seal, you were some kind of enemy trying to kill grandma. You wanted people to die. You were heartless. You didn't care if people died. You're a monster. We should take all of your rights, and if need be, we should kill you. Literally, there were people on even Twitter.com
Oh, sure.
openly saying these things about anybody who dared disagree with any of the draconian measures that were used during COVID in America. Some places were obviously more draconian than others. Governors are very important. Governors are very important.
Well, they're
Uh,
managers. We need good managers. Yeah.
yeah. But the idea that, yeah, no, we know who these people are. We watched them. And now they're out here, of course, you see them out here begging for amnesty. They want everybody to put their let's just all forget about what we did. No, 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 no. No schnookums. We're not forgetting about what you did. I'll never forgive you people for what you did. You murdered my father. There
Yeah.
will never be forgiveness from me. Period.
Yeah.
There is nothing they could do to bring forgiveness from my heart to them. They better ask God. He's got more mercy than me because I'm out. I'm
Right.
fresh out. And I'm not alone. Our boy Denali, his dad was killed by the COVID measures. These sorts of things happened all over the country to people like me who did nothing wrong, who had a wife who worked in the COVID ward for pennies. Pennies. She was making nothing. I'm not even going to say what it was. It was pathetic. And she was risking her life, allegedly, according to them, every single day. because she has asthma, and there was nothing they could do. They told her she had to work or they had to let her go. Uh, so we were, at the very beginning of this thing, I was terrified because the reports we were getting, and we seen them, this thing was not good, very dangerous, killing people with lung problems,
Well, the initial
even people
variant
with
was really
asthma.
bad, but America
Yeah,
didn't get hit by that.
no. So, no, there will not be an amnesty from this guy. And
Yeah.
anybody who's willing to actually punish these people, and I mean that, punish them. The people who push that shit on everybody for a year and a half, punish them with any measure of law that is necessary to do so. That's the person I'll support. I don't care what their other political beliefs are. I really don't. These people need to feel some pain, actual pain, maybe physical, but actual pain in their lives for what they
Yeah.
did to millions of innocent people and millions of innocent children to protect a bunch of fat old people who didn't take care of their health before COVID, but now everybody's supposed to be worried about their health now. No, I'm sorry. That's not how it works. If you want, I was a fat person. I was a really fat person in 2020. If you want to worry, if you want to, it's not their responsibility to worry about my health. That
No,
was
it's
on
yours.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that
Anyway,
is true,
rant over.
Elrod. Obamacare was certainly a big chunk of it, but even before that, I'm sure there were nonsense things going on. To give an example with the COVID, as far as it affected my sphere, her grandmother, no, excuse me, my wife's uncle, somewhat recently contracted it, and
Mhm.
he's, it's not killing him, it's just a mild flu now. However, they've kept him in the hospital. He does have Parkinson as well, which of course is killing him. But and all the sadness that comes with that. But They put him in, and they just because you're not allowed to go see him because they're COVID, right? So they're locked down. They're super locked down, right?
Yeah.
But they just found out recently from some kind of like a Zoom call type of thing they were able to do with him. He's down to 36 kilos in that hospital.
Jesus.
36 kilos. Now understand, there are very few adult women who weigh that little,
Yeah.
right? This is a man. Now he's Japanese, so he's kind of small, but that's ridiculous, dude. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I could carry him around in one hand easily,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So this kind of issue is certainly widespread. So what I'd like to do today is take kind of a look of how things are impacting in this regard in the entertainment world, because that's mainly what we talk about here is entertainment,
Yeah.
and it is kind of a shine on what the world really looks like, isn't it? So let's
Yes.
go ahead and take a look at this, and go ahead, dude.
Ozark star Jason Bateman concerned that election deniers, that's amazing, could win midterm elections. Urges President Biden to use America's emergency alert system to mobilize voters. Well, okay, listen. Listen. I know you're an actor and stupid. One, that would be a
Pretty good actor,
massive
actually.
violation of the law. Two, because it's for emergencies. Two, um, it doesn't work that way. They have to be registered. Now, in some places, they can register same day and vote same day, which I think is just stupid. But
If you got a license, you got a license. So.
but regardless, a lot of places you can't. So this wouldn't necessarily work the way you think it would. It's not like you could just press a button and be like, "Hey guys, everybody go vote for me. Go vote for Democrats." Bam.
Well,
And there you go. That would be a massive violation of the law
it
for him
would
to
be.
use that system that way. Now, granted, Biden has already done things that were probably not illegal or probably not legal. Uh, so you never know how it depends how scrupulous he wants to be. But it would I don't see that happening. For one, there's no reason to. Um, all these people worried about election deniers. The Republicans are bought and sold too, guys. I'm sorry
Well,
to
of course
tell
they
you,
are. Yeah, of course they
elections
are.
in America are a joke unless you're at the local level. Focus on what you can actually change. The Washington swamp cannot be changed from outside. It has to be burned.
Hmm.
Simple as that.
Which,
There's no fixing it.
which brings us to 2 points. right?
Yep.
First of all, with this, I have two questions, which I'll come back to. But as far as what you said, that's exactly what we need to do. We need to
Yep.
dismantle the federal government and bring it back local. That's really
That's right.
what we need to do, because locally you know the people you're voting for, you know what's going on. It needs to become very localized, which was the initial concept, by the way.
Correct.
But yeah, that's true. But with this right here, I find it very interesting because one, starting with the last first, go ahead, tell everyone to go vote with the emergency system, please.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Go. I
that's
mean,
not going to
knock
help you
yourself
out,
out.
buddy. That's not going to help you out,
No,
buddy. Yeah,
I
that's
think
good.
if I think if you engage more people right now, Democrats would get crushed in a way that we've never seen.
Yeah,
Because right or wrong, and I'm not even going to totally blame them because Trump did a lot of this stuff too that led us to this place. But right or wrong,
that's
the
true.
people blame them. On every poll you can look at, people are blaming the Democrats and their
Oh yeah.
policies and their this and that and whatever.
Because it's
So,
broader than the
yes.
important aspects of inflation and costs and violence.
So
It's
I
broader.
don't
Yeah.
think that would work out the way they think. Maybe it would, but I don't think it would. I know typically the more votes there are, usually the elections lean Democrat. So because they have a bigger party. Um, okay, I don't know how true that is anymore. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not talking out of my ass here. I genuinely don't know. Because I know in the last few years the Republicans have been making a massive registration push. They were
Mhm.
doing it even under Trump and were winning the registration push in a lot of places like in Florida and Ohio and stuff.
Right.
So they were taking purple states that leaned red and making them redder effectively. Um, which is smart. That's exactly what they should be doing. It's exactly what the Democrats should be doing. It's smart.
It is.
Uh, so I don't know if that would work the way he thinks, especially in the places where these elections are, close. They're mostly purple places anyway. Getting more people out might, in fact, go the other way. You
No, it
might get
will.
more red
A-
people who show up.
And the point I'm trying to make is that the entertainment is actually helping the Republicans, is what they're doing, right?
Yeah,
And the thing with local stuff, Dave, here's the thing. When we talk about Republican or Democrat, it's kind of silly, right? Because it depends on what's going on in your local area to what you need,
that's
right?
right.
If you live in an area and it has a huge homeless population, well, you need to do something to deal with that, right?
Yeah,
If you have a local population or mainly farmers, then you need to cater to that. That's the thing about this broad political concept. It doesn't apply universally. It just doesn't. Therefore, the whether it be a socialistic or a conservative application depends on what's going on,
correct.
and this is why
Also
it should be local.
depends on that area's level of wealth and resources.
Right.
Like all of these things matter. That's why I'm not like. It's why I don't understand the people who are so rigid in their. I think this is where Ben and I surprise Ben a lot because I'm not rigid. My ideology is what works. That is first and
Yeah.
foremost.
What's necessary?
If you have a principle that simply does not work, then you have absolutely no reason to have that principle. What are you doing? Why are you enshrining into your own laws as a person principles that simply do not work?
Right. It doesn't
If
make
you-
sense. So
Yeah,
taking things back, and that's the original founders. However, whatever argument you want to get into about that, their concept was that things need to be dealt with locally, and you can
that's right.
even put it completely on a self-serving platter from their point of view. Go ahead, right? It still applies. It still applies. Then the first one here, I have a question, Grimlock, because I noticed you came in and you've been super quiet. Um, Grimlock, tell me, please, what is an election denier and how does it apply in Jason Bateman's mind?
Election denier is a term that stupid white liberals have made up and have pushed through the media. Basically, people who have doubts about previous elections. Well, I hate to tell Mr. Bateman this. I don't know if where he's been the last 22 years, but you've had quite a few election deniers who have not only um, disputed and denied previous results, but they won political seats in part because of it.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton.
like Hillary Clinton and
Yeah.
Yeah.
AOC.
Yeah.
You know,
To some extent, even Al Gore, he didn't win a political seat necessarily, but he's had all kinds of bureaucratic roles because of it.
You know, that's
Yeah.
true. But because that is universal. They're always, it doesn't matter Democrat or Republican.
And
They always
you should
claim
be.
they were cheated, and that's
You
fine.
should challenge it. It should be challenged literally every time. I don't care if it makes it take longer. There's no good reason to not audit it. If you're running a business, you do audits on a regular basis of your business's functionaries to make sure they're profitable or they're not bleeding money or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Efficient, whatever.
Yeah, but
There's no good reason to not do that with something as supposedly important as elections. None.
but I'm still befuddled, Thundero, because
Oh, no.
this quote I don't understand. Election deniers could win midterm elections. It's
That's right.
befuddling.
That's right. Yeah.
You see, election deniers could
right.
win.
Yes.
Hey, hold on, let me look at it again. I'm trying to help my brain out here. Election deniers could win.
Yeah.
Isn't that like a negative?
Well, listen. You're thinking too hard here. You're thinking way harder than he did about it. Let's put it that way.
Well, if they denied the elections, then that by its nature means not winning.
That's true. Yes. Well, because in order to be an election denier, you would have to stop elections. Right?
Yeah,
You'd
yeah.
have to make elections be denied. They're not permitted.
But he's terrified that they could win.
That's right.
I don't know.
What he means is
that doesn't make sense.
He means 2020 results deniers,
No.
insofar as that Biden won. Now, listen, I'm not going to spread any misinformation, but I think there's a lot of people on both sides of the aisle that would at least say his win was very suspicious.
Oh, there were
At
tons
the
of
least.
shenanigans going on. There are a lot of shenanigans going on.
At the very least, it was
right.
suspicious.
But the thing is, it should have never been that close to allow
No.
the shenanigans to tilt it.
Yeah.
Right. That's the problem, really. But they're clearly well documented and in court proven shenanigans.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know that's not deniers, dude. That's
Well, it's because here's what
election
they're doing.
fraud.
This is the linguistic trick.
Fraud.
Right? So,
Mr.
That's
Bateman. That the word is fraud.
the linguistic trick is the term denier, because as soon as you say it, a lot of people immediately conjure Holocaust denier. And
Oh, do they?
for some reason, that's an egregious sin. You're not allowed to question anything, apparently. But regardless, that's where a lot of people's mind immediately goes, is to Holocaust denier and all of the connotation that is loaded onto that, insofar as you're a Nazi or you hate the Jews or you supported it or whatever.
Which Holocaust? The brown one, the yellow one, the red one.
Tell him.
Which?
Tell him.
Oh,
don't tell him.
Okay.
Don't. It's a secret. They're not supposed to know that.
Oh, okay.
But my point is that's why they use that term, right? It's the same reason they use climate change deniers. You're a denier of climate change. Nobody's a denier of climate change. There's people who deny that humans are causing it, but everybody agrees the climate change is because it's called seasons.
Yeah.
We all have them.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, they have them.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of interesting. We've had several scientific efforts done over the past 100 years. One of the bigger ones that went on for decades was that Swedish. Well, I think it was Swedish led, but there were Germans and other people involved in Greenland, and they really documented the past 30,000, 40,000 years pretty well because of the ice they have there. And what they've shown is that it kind of goes up and down all the time. But the solutions are weird. Even if we all say, okay, so how do we deal with this climate change, right? But okay, it's fine. Let's see the solutions, and we look at the solutions, and if you take a moment to read it and just do the math, just basic math. It's not even very complicated math. No. Like,
well, I always say, I don't believe anybody who says they're environmentalists or they're against climate change or they're an activist for climate justice is their new one. I don't believe you if you're anti-nuclear. If you are not 100% pro-nuclear and trying to get countries all along the West to open nuclear power plants, you're full of shit. if you say you care about the environment, because you can't have it both ways.
Right.
Also, the biggest polluters, at least into the air, are power plants that run off of either petroleum or coal.
Sure.
Nuclear plants are not the polluters, and the cars are not the polluters outside of the big congested cities.
I was told it was cow farts.
Yes, it's the big cow fart
It's the cows.
conspiracy. No,
Yeah.
it's the power plants. It's always been the power
It's the-
plants.
it's the
China
power
has
plants.
a billion of them.
And of course, all that electric power is being generated because all the nuclear power plants have been shut down. Is coming from coal. But we won't talk about that. Let's go back to the cows. And this big, no, seriously, this big push they're making all over the Western world to shut down farmers, right? Because they
Yeah.
are literally shutting down farmers as
That's
we
right.
speak. If you look at their plans, and if their plans go to complete fruition, you're going to have a lot of starving people.
Yep.
If their plans go to complete fruition, you do the math. By the turn of the 22nd century, they would have slowed the global warming process by how much would you say? How much from all these efforts they're doing and all this nonsense and all this stuff they keep talking about? By the turn of the 22nd century, how much time would they have saved on the incoming death of global warming? How much time you think? Put
Oh
out a
my
number.
god.
Put out a
Oh,
number.
I can't do that calculation, Chester. It's enormous.
It would be
is what it-
centuries, right? Because this is a big
Yeah.
effort. We're saving the world. Centuries,
Yes.
right, Grimlock? Centuries.
Centuries.
Would you like to know the actual math, Grimlock?
Uh-oh.
Would you like to know?
Sure. Lay it on.
3 weeks.
So
We're
basically,
saving the world, guys.
A vacation.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
And not even a long one, just a normal vacation.
Not even a proper growing season.
That's right.
But
Did
I mean,
all
that's
this-
seriously
We did all of this so we could take yet another trip to Grandma's.
right.
Maybe
But,
Ben can help us on this one because here's what I mean. I have literally watched a lot of the documentaries, especially Al Gore's and these other people's documentaries on the worst case scenario. And so far, from what I've gathered of the ones that are reasonable, the worst thing that's going to happen is it's going to get warmer by 1 to 3 degrees around the planet.
yeah, and
Okay.
it's not even that. It's a much lower number than that. It's a
Yeah, but
percentage
let's
of
say
degree.
it is. Okay. So what? Like, is that a big deal?
Well,
It does that in a day here. I don't know
Well-
where you guys are, but
right. But you know how earlier I was talking a little bit about history,
Yep.
and how it applies to this current conversation. Let me give you a little bit of a. Let me pose a question, and then you guys tell me what you think. When you look all over the world and you look in historical sites and you look at things like fortifications, and you look at because a lot of our coastlines have been landscape man-made, right?
That's
All
right.
over the world, it's a pretty standard thing. But you look at all these structures, and you notice that today, when you go look at them, parts of them are in the water, right? They're
Mhm.
underwater. They've been flooded over by rising
Yep.
sea levels, right? So,
That's right.
and of course, we understand that during the Younger Dryas event, we gained what 450 feet of, or was that meters? Whenever a lot of water came up, and we lost a lot of coastline, and we've had times before and times after where we've had these kind of shifting global ocean levels. But as the level they are right now, they're much higher than they ever were before, even just a few thousand years ago, during the Roman time or Greek or Egyptian periods. They're higher. So what does that indicate? What does that say to your
Mm.
brain if right now we're sitting at very high water levels,
That's right.
and but yet the past 100 years we haven't seen even a centimeter movement in ocean levels? But what does that tell you?
Well, tells me that we can. Well, first we're going to survive whatever happens, obviously, because we have already before at many different intervals with far less technological advancement than we had then.
That's arguable,
So,
but anyway.
well, in certain fields. So we're probably going to survive regardless
Yeah.
of what happens.
Yeah.
Unless it's like cataclysm, like that. Remember that 2012 movie? Remember that? Unless it's
Right.
that,
Well,
we're probably going to survive.
we've had a bunch of those. They
And
do
we survived
happen.
them.
They do happen.
Yeah,
But I'm not getting that big. I'm keeping it simple. What it tells you is you're in a hot period anyway.
that's right.
That's what it
Yeah.
tells you. And of course, if you go look at the Greenland charts and all that stuff, you would see, oh, we are in a hot peak. And you know what's going to happen next? The same thing has been happening the past 12,000 years. We're going to go back down into a cold peak. And then you know what happens after that? We're going to come back into a hot peak. Oh
That's
my
right.
God.
And it's going to keep doing that whether humans are here or not,
I mean,
because it's been doing it
you
for
can
since ever.
literally just walk into your local town, go to the coast, and see that shit is under the water because it's been flooded over, and understand that that was built by humans, not aliens, not even that
Oh,
long ago.
you don't. It might have been aliens. You don't know.
Well, fine, but you know what I mean. My point being that it's right in front of you. It's right in front of you that this is just nonsense. It's
Yeah.
complete nonsense. Now, on the other side of it, being responsible and trying to reduce pollution and cleaning
Yes.
up your neighborhoods is
Yes.
absolutely what we should be doing. We should be
All the time.
knocking for better technologies all the damn time. The
Yes.
problem we have going on, that's the reason why I'm bringing this shit up today and we're talking about it. What these people are pushing is not going to do anything. It's actually the opposite. It's more
Right.
polluting. The
Yes.
electric push that they're making, these things that we make with these lithium batteries are far more destructive than petroleum. Far more. Now, I would
Yep.
love it if they could perfect these technologies or create new technologies. Please do. But it's absolute nonsense what they're saying. It's complete
It is.
nonsense.
The solution to all of these problems has always been not centralization but decentralization, because then if there is an issue, say somebody is a polluter, a great polluter, a bad polluter, they most likely have a much smaller slice that they can damage. They don't have as much influence because they're smaller scale, because
Sure.
it's so wide net. But as you notice, like you're talking about, the solution coming from on high is always to centralize, 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 more power, centralize into a bureaucracy of some description, give more power to the government or to some non-governmental organization. Uh, no, that's not the solution. Because here's why. They might succeed, but what if they fail? What if they actually fail to make things better and in turn do like the EPA did a few years ago, poison a whole river?
Oh, yeah, that happens all the time. That's my point.
Yeah.
They're actually
Yeah.
causing trouble. And does therefore do my previous statement, does that make me a climate denier, even though I
Yes.
seemingly more educated on the topic?
Correct. You are a
Okay.
denier
All right.
of human caused climate change, and you are a sinner, sir.
That's right.
And in order to pay your indulgences, you must pay your carbon tax now. You see. You must pay your indulgences to Mother Gaia.
Hmm.
And for your indulgences, sir, for your sins against the earth, you must pay.
Hmm.
Very similar to how the
Hmm.
Catholics used to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait.
Chastise me, Grimlock. Chastise me.
No, see, you guys are both wrong. I was told that the only way you can fix climate change is if you give money to political activists.
Oh,
That's right. Yeah.
okay.
So you're supposed to
That's how-
give all your money to a little white girl, child actress over in
All right.
somewhere in Europe,
That's true.
That's right.
and all of a sudden,
fair.
you'll have an EV that'll outlast your car by like 2 million miles, and it won't hurt the environment, and everything will be great.
And eventually it'll fly. I've been told for a long time the flying car was coming. I don't
Hmm.
have one
Hmm.
yet. Haven't
Damn
seen
it.
one, but I
Damn
keep
it.
being told.
Well,
Keep being told.
you know what it feels like, and I know Ben's going to be mad at me, but you know what it feels like. It feels
Uh-oh.
like back in those truly ancient times that we call the Neolithic, which ironically they're kind of showing you that they know the truth because they call it the New Stone Age. Right.
That's right.
But back in those times, they were so terrified of the weather because their ancestors had just survived a absolute cataclysm, right?
That's
They
right.
were so terrified of it. What they would do is take the little girls in the white and they'd sacrifice them to the dragon. Yeah.
Hmm.
And this thing is not just a movie trope. This was done all over the place. It's well written about. Now, I don't know exactly what the dragon was. but they were sacrificing little girls in white, and it feels like that's what we're back to.
Yeah, it's getting a little creepy out there, isn't it? It's
Ben, how dare you? How dare you? But I mean,
it's
it is getting
funny
creepy,
how
dude.
they
It's
do
getting,
this
and I'm
stuff.
responding to Elrod's cult comment, and he's right. He's right.
Yes.
But
Yes.
anyway, let's continue on, because wow, dude. But Jason, get a grip, buddy. Get a grip.
Jason, chill out, bud.
Yeah,
It's
chill out,
okay if
buddy. It's
people you
okay.
don't like are elected. At least that's what you
Yeah,
told us when Biden took office, right?
yeah.
That was what
It's
I
okay.
heard. It's okay. It's not a big deal. Okay, well,
Yes.
it is for you too. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Well,
You'll be okay.
let's give a little bit of let's push our aura out to Jason and give some love to Jason. And Jason. They all suck.
That's right. Yeah,
They all suck.
everyone, everyone.
It
If
doesn't
they
matter who
didn't
you
suck,
vote
they wouldn't
for.
be politicians.
They're a bunch of
That's
shitheads. You know what
yeah.
the solution is, Jason? I'm pushing my aura out to Mr. Bateman right now.
Uh-oh,
I
here it
am.
comes.
Let me get my goddamn crystal. All right. Because here's the thing. You know what we need to do, Jason? Here, string them all up. Get
Yeah,
rid of them. We don't need
his
any
mic cut out.
goddamn politicians anyway. We need managers.
His mic cut
Get
out.
rid of the goddamn politicians.
I like how the mic cut out too. That was perfect. Perfect time. It was just perfect. Strill, and it just cut. Yeah, no, that's been the solution my whole
Mhm.
entire life. I've been trying to get more people to agree. It seems like people are starting to come around.
We just
All
don't
I
need
know,
them, dude. We don't need
all
them.
I know is we have a lot of light posts in this country, and they
Mhm,
could use some
mhm,
decorating.
mhm,
That's all I'm
mhm.
saying.
That's
A
true.
little decoration for the light posts for the holiday
Little bit.
season. We can light them up, put lights in their mouth. It'd be beautiful. Be
No,
great. Be joyous time.
we surely, truly don't. Because if you go and look at it logistically, they don't do anything. They don't serve a purpose. What we need is managers. We have a set amount of rules and laws. We have people to enforce them, people to manage it. We don't need politicians, dude. But that's okay. You look panicked there, Mr. Bateman. Let's
A
move
little
on.
afraid.
A little
A little
afraid.
scared.
Let's move on. Something a little more
Ah,
fun.
yes, my boy. Netflix's The Witcher fans launch petition to keep Henry Cavill and replace the writers instead. Listen,
Yeah.
please. I would love that. I don't care if it takes 5 more years to put out a season because he's doing Superman or whatever. Yep, please. Because
Well,
it's pretty clear that I was correct. Thank you. I know. And the reason he left that show is he was just tired of arguing with the dumb
he
asses
was.
who were in charge of it.
Well, this is really sad to
Yes.
me that this is sad because, Henry is, by all accounts, a kind of a normal dude. He's a
Yeah.
dude, right?
He's one of
Uh,
us.
he just happens to, have been born pretty good looking, and he worked his ass off to kind of fill in all the other holes, right? But the thing is, with this particularly, it's super sad because he loves The Witcher. Not
He
only
does.
is it from the video game, but he's read the books to the point that he can quote them,
Encyclopedia-like
right?
knowledge, his
It's
co-stars
it's
have
a
said.
it's a true dream role for him, and
Yeah.
they ruined it for him, and it's sad, dude.
I cannot wait to see what season 3 is, because there was talk back at the end of season 2 that he doesn't wanna come back, that he was ready to be done. He was almost hopeful. One of the reports said that there wasn't a season 3,
Yeah,
because he just wasn't happy. And one of the ones that came out that they tried to spin into this lighthearted, funny thing that happened on set was him and the director lady, that Hissrich lady, arguing because she wanted to make a joke at the death of his horse. And Henry understanding that, yeah, he goes through horses, but he loves his horses. These horses
yeah.
are his best friends,
No,
they're his companions.
and he took a
It's
quote
not,
right out of the book actually for that.
yeah,
Actually,
yeah, and she wanted to make it into some, put a little joke on it to put a pin in it or whatever, and he's like, No, no." And basically, she just told him, "Well, then you write something, and we'll try it." And he did, and it
and
was
he did.
beautiful, and
Yeah,
that's what happened in the show.
yeah.
But it's just something that simple. You don't know what you're dealing with here. Obviously, Geralt is not a jokester. He's not going to be out here cracking jokes when his horse, his best friend in the world, just died right in front of him. He loves his horse. He talks to his horse. He has conversations with his damn horse.
He does. Yeah.
It's not like it's just some random beast of burden in a field that just got taken out that he doesn't have any attachment to. This is his companion, one of his closest living friends. He loves Roach.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
why he
he
calls
doesn't.
them all Roach.
He doesn't
There's a
like
reason for that.
he doesn't like people really.
Yeah,
But
it's people
another
he
thing
can't
that
stand.
it's true. Another thing that The Witcher that they've took out of Geralt's character is he's quite the philosopher.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they took that all away completely.
he's
But
smart.
yeah,
He's
he is
not dumb.
smart.
He's not a
Um,
brute. He's a
and of course
he's a very intellectual man.
the big problem is you see very little of him in The
Yes.
Witcher. You see The Witcher
And that
very
was one
little.
of Henry's main gripes, right?
Yeah.
He wrote apparently he had been lobbying with the bosses to get him more because they can't be in his head because it's a show. And in the books, a lot of it's told from his perspective, a lot of it, or most of it.
Hmm.
But a lot of it's told from his thoughts, right? Because he doesn't speak a lot, because like you said, he doesn't like people, but he thinks a lot. He's always thinking, he's always planning and figuring things out and stuff like that. He's a very smart guy, very intellectual guy, and like you said, a philosopher. He lives a very long life, so yeah, he thinks about it a lot. And obviously, his life is insane. He's fighting monsters all the
Right.
time.
Right.
So he's actually a very deep character, very, as he said in his goodbye address, a very nuanced character that he hopes Hemsworth
Mhm.
does well with.
Well, he won't. It's
Um,
instantly dead
no,
with Liam coming in.
it's
But
done.
and Liam's an idiot for taking the role, really. But
Yeah,
it's sad. And it's unfortunate and Henry will never speak out because he's not that kind of guy. He's a nice
no,
guy.
no, yeah,
He's just not that guy. And that's good on him. But it is a sad thing and of course I I after season 1 I was done anyway. Because
yeah.
it's not The Witcher.
Well, the
Uh
second season is really not The Witcher.
Yeah, no,
Like
I knew it was gonna get
almost
worse. I
all of
knew it.
it is just stuff they made up or stuff they took and extracted from other
Yeah.
places in the story and just like plugged it in here or there, and
Yeah,
it's
it
just
should
like,
be called The Chronicles of Yennefer. And why not? She's a cool
yeah,
character. I think
yeah,
season
she's
1 they
fine.
did a really good job with her actually.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong
yeah.
with that. Just call it The Chronicles of
Ciri's a cool
Yennefer.
character. And
Yeah.
the weird thing is this is a story they should love. It's a feminist story. His whole life is devoted to women.
Yep,
His
that is
whole
true.
life is
Yeah.
about protecting women and getting to women and making sure they're safe. Yeah, he has sex with a lot of them,
Yeah.
but still, his
Yeah.
whole life is devoted to
Well, I
women.
mean, look at him. Who wouldn't want to
Yeah,
have sex with him? I mean, Jesus.
I mean, it's not even homosexual.
Not
I've said this
even.
before.
No.
It's not. He's too beautiful.
That's your free pass right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Every man
But
gets at least one, and Henry is every man's one.
yes,
It's
that's
just
the
the
one.
rules.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
universal. But whatever. For me, I don't want to get into bitching and complaining about it because it's just sad. That's all.
Yeah,
And I know
it is.
some of you in the chat are screaming Elric. I can hear you. I know. And I'm with you because keep in mind that The Witcher is complete ripoff from a Soviet Union era. The dude who wrote The Witcher was a Soviet era dude who was in charge of seeing if books that were coming in were okay to be given out to the Soviet citizens. He saw it, he took it to the side, and said, "Hey, I'm going to do this myself," and he did. It's a complete, absolute ripoff. It is. But the reality is, people know this far more than they know Elric.
Correct.
It's
And
just
not only
that's the way
that,
it is. It's the reality, dude.
I mean, everything's a
Deal
ripoff
with
of
it.
something.
Yeah, sure.
That's just the truth.
Oh, of course.
Like there's very little work out there that's even remotely original. Derivative or iteration, we come up with all these different words for it, but it's just a form of copying. You
Yeah.
just took this person's idea, changed it up very little, sometimes a lot, but very little usually, and there you go. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what art is supposed to be. It's supposed to be that. You're supposed to be able to take someone's idea and turn it into something different or better or maybe even worse if you're not as good as they are, like a lot of these writers.
Mhm.
There's not necessarily on surface anything wrong with that, especially if your intentions are just artistic
Well, they
in
weren't though. He just wanted to make money. It was just complete ripoff. But my point is, oh well, right? That's my point. And Ben, let's be fair. Your bar is way lower than mine, buddy. Uh, anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. Oh no.
numerous numerous Comicsgate Indiegogo campaigns appear to be getting shadow banned by the crowdfunding platform, according to Sir Delarose himself.
Well, we know this is true. I mean, this isn't appear to be anything. This is definitely happening. Now, it definitely seems to be happening more from a political stance, but I'm sure it's happening just from preference, and I'm sure it's happening in many ways. When you
Yeah.
put that thing in place, you allow for people to kind of push their agendas, right? Like we've seen with that little backdoor for Facebook, and I'm sure Twitter and all the other ones for government employees to get in, and this scandal that's come up recently, to get in and put the kibosh on stuff. You can have something come from an actual chairman or some big high level dude, but also you get the person at the local Wichita office
Yeah.
can access it, right? And I'm sure they get in trouble from time to time when they get caught because they're doing something because it's their own personal bias, right?
Hmm.
So we see that happening, and when you put these things in place, well, you're going to get that. Now, for the majority of it, is certainly leaning one way and not the other, for sure. But I'm sure it's a deeper and more widespread thing, simply because you put the potential in place,
Right.
right? We're speaking about Indiegogo here, but I'm sure everything is applied in this way, and we're starting to see the scandals and the leaks and the whistleblowers come out. We're starting to see that it is everywhere. So, I understand that for us, it's a knee jerk reaction that is, it's the damn liberals, those progressives. Well, mostly.
Well, well.
Well, you know what I
Um.
mean. It's not, I'm sure there's stuff going on all sides, actually.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It's nobody should be surprised by this anymore. It's almost not even newsworthy.
Mm.
If it wasn't for the fact that people are, potentially losing money, well, definitely losing money. Um, it's really not even newsworthy. I honestly think that Eric July showed everybody the right way to do it, and
Yeah,
it's to do it off these platforms. It's not that hard to build a website to sell your own stuff. You can do it even with like Shopify or WordPress, or there's all kinds of places you can do it.
hmm,
Build your own website, sell your own stuff. Some of those places like Shopify will even process the payments for you and put it
sure.
into whatever account you want, a bank account, a PayPal account, whatever you got. Uh, and it's boom, bang, boom. It's
Yeah.
not that hard.
No, the tools are there. That's true.
You could probably have that set up in a day,
Yeah.
right?
Well, but Eric did the most important thing though that a lot of people miss. He went
Yeah,
out and created an audience for himself.
that's right.
That too.
That's why he's successful, because he created an audience for himself.
Yep. He made
So,
millions.
and good for
Millions.
him.
No, Chester. I have on reliable sources
Okay.
from Twitter reply guys
Hmm.
that it was all Glenn Beck's money.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Glenn
what?
Beck's in the habit of just throwing money after independent comic books.
Which stroke is he on right now?
Yes. Oh, man, he just goes right for Glenn's heart.
So, but yeah, I mean, that you gotta do the legwork first, is what that comes down to with that. But shadow banning is real. But like I said, I think it's more indicative of the problem that we have with all of these so-called private companies allowing themselves to be so politically manipulated. I think that's the
Yeah.
real problem with it. And I understand about your concerns with John Malin Elrod, but we're talking about John Della Rose,
Well,
who is actually a rather successful author. He's
He is.
the,
He's a
made a
very
the,
lot
good
of
the
author.
thing
money. Yeah.
the thing of it is, they know that these sites can be infiltrated from the inside by these nutcase activists,
Yeah. And that's the
and
problem, right?
you really can't do anything about it
Yeah.
because you can't during the hiring process you can't weed them out by that because because of the laws we have.
Yeah.
It would be illegal to do so. So yeah, look, the thing is, and they should have seen this coming. You bragged about Indiegogo being that place for years. You didn't think by now that some of these, because these people on Twitter, these some of these nutcases really have no life. And
Oh
if you
yeah.
didn't think for 1 minute that a couple of them wouldn't have got a job at Indiegogo just so they could do that, if you don't think that that's a possibility, I'd like to have some of the drugs you're smoking because that's some
Right.
good shit.
Well, yeah, but it's also very fraudulent, Grimlock, because what you have here is these companies are straddling the fence. They will
Yeah.
lean to the private company type of shtick if that benefits them, but at the same time they're operating like public utilities, right? And
Yeah.
the fact that we have the government directly coming in and coercing and directing them, and like I said, sometimes it is an actual government director that is coming in and making something. You can argue the illegality of that, but sometimes it's that. But a lot of time it's that little, like I said, that little person in Wichita, because they're part of the government. They can get in too, right? That's that's the bigger problem. But the thing is, make a decision on the damn thing. That's how you solve it. They don't get their cake and eat it too. No one else does. They
Mm.
don't. Either they're a
Right.
private company or they're a public utility. Make a choice. It's very simple. And the fact that they're doing both is where all this nonsense is coming from. If they're a private company, they do whatever the hell they want, but the governmental bodies have no say. If you want to go the utility way, do that as well. Whatever. Make a choice. Because that's the problem, right?
Hmm. I agree
So,
with you wholeheartedly. I would go even further personally, but yeah, I agree with you that there needs to be a delineation here. That there's no reason to keep going on this ridiculous dancing on the line
yeah, it's
stuff. And you
nonsense.
notice people I haven't heard that argument from lefty Twitter activists now. Now that Elon owns Twitter,
Right.
suddenly that argument is real quiet in their circles. I'm not hearing them say things. Well, we might not like it, but it's a
Oh, of
private
course.
company. He can do what he wants.
Of course. We'll see we'll have to wait and see what Elon does, but it could be interesting. Now, this article, I'm going to move on, but this article here delves in particularly talking about Mike Barron, who is a friend of this channel. Well, we love
Good
Mike.
old Mike. Yeah.
And he, of course, a lot of you guys probably know him mainly from his Punisher stuff, but he's done a bunch of comic books. But Mike has 100% been shadow banned, and this article proves it one without question, right? But we know a lot of things have been done that, and sometimes it's just kind of a universal idea. But We know Ben, but yeah, it's a thing, and we need to get beyond this stuff. We need to the all this SNS or what do you guys just call it? Net. What is the word you use in the West? We call them social
What?
networking systems, SNS, Twitter, Facebook,
Social
Google,
media.
social media. Okay, they just need to be either regulated or not. And this kind of murky, shadowy water that they're in right now is complete nonsense, and it's being
I think it's a
abused.
real simple piece of legislation too.
It is.
I mean, you could do an amendment, but you don't even necessarily need to. You just
Well,
make the regulations say if you're a communications platform of any description where what you do is facilitate communication between Americans,
yeah,
you cannot
the
censor
public forum.
anything other than law breaking activity
Right.
or suspected
Right.
law breaking
And of
activity.
course
Everything else must be open.
that's true. And of course it's legislation that is allowing them to straddle that fence as we
Yes.
speak. It's very easy to deal with. They just need to do it. But of course the governmentals, even though I'm sure they're aware that some of their local affiliates are doing things they shouldn't be doing, they don't want to come in and do that because when they need it, it's useful to them. Right? That's why they're not acting, and including the Republicans, by the way. Right?
Oh yeah. Well,
Uh,
they're also bought and paid for.
right, right, right. But I find it hilarious. But what can we do? What can do what he wants? No,
But
we
he can do what
can.
he
It's
wants.
pretty easy, Ben. We just need to reverse that legislation. It's not hard. But anyway, let's move on because once again, what is the modern world and what is the future? Because we see a lot of people saying things are starting to change, but I'm like, are they?
Hmm.
Rumor. Well, if you're expecting Disney to change, you're you're waiting on daisies there. Rumor: Disney to race swap a number of X-Men for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Use cameos from Fox Films as better bait for fan interest. Yeah, I think we called that from beginning. That I almost guarantee you we don't get a male Wolverine, or if we do, it's for one or two films, and then they bring in the chick that nobody likes.
Well, their intention is that they're going to be using a lot of the people we know from Fox to do cameos to draw you into the movie, but then flip it. right?
Yep.
That's what the rumor is. But actually, the very last words of this article are what are interesting to me. Let's take a look at it.
Okay.
Okay. They know that, unfortunately, white men are the money in the whole revenue stream chain, which includes multiple views, more merch at higher price points, secondary media spends, etc. They concluded, we want to give the minimum possible needed to get the most that we can out of them. We'll
Jesus.
have to throw them a couple of bones.
It's just disgusting. I mean,
Talk
listen,
about white
you
men
know
here,
me.
right?
Yeah, you know me. I don't really care. I actually argue that the concept of racism is a fallacy.
Just call it
But if it
tribalism or
exists,
culturalism. Yeah.
this is what it looks like.
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah. This
now,
definitely.
just change that to anybody else and
Yeah,
have them say that publicly, or
yeah,
have that come out that they were
yeah.
saying this internally,
Even
and
white
watch what
women.
happens.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
God,
yeah.
watch what happens to them. Watch the immediate genuflection. Immediately, they'll be groveling like little peasants before a king. It's disgusting, and it shouldn't. They should this conversation shouldn't even be happening in this company. If that is your audience, then play to your damn audience.
Well,
What are
yeah.
you doing?
Well, the thing is, the vast majority of their audience are white people.
Yes,
They just are
yes.
white people. It just is what it is. Now,
It's
they tried to pop into the Chinese market, which is never going to work. The Chinese government has complete control over their media. Complete control. If it isn't something to their liking that promotes what the CCP wants, they're not going to allow it. It's just that simple. And to be fair, the Chinese don't care much about it anyway. They're not
correct.
all super Marvel fans. They're not. Like
No,
Star Wars stuff, they kept pushing that with a Boyega, trying to hide him because there is a racism problem, or at least a cultural problem with blacks in Asia. But
yep,
they don't even like Star Wars. The Chinese do not care for Star Wars. If you want to find an Asian group that cares about Star Wars, go to Japan,
yeah,
right? But you
yeah.
never
Right.
hear them come up in the conversation, of course. But it's just dumb. The majority of your audience is white. It just is, dude. So
It's
And
either
not just
here's
that
the
it's
crazy
not just
part.
that it's white. It's that it's white men. That's what it
That's
is.
true.
well,
And
Yeah.
especially with superhero stuff, yeah.
well, yes. Look, the fact that is you can't change what it is. This country, last I checked, is still 60% white.
It's more if you add the Latinos
And
in, who are automatic, all of
and
a sudden the Jews, who are
and
for
the
some reason
major
not white anymore.
and yet there are girls who are into this, but even the girls that are into this, you would not consider them hardcore. Like
No,
most,
no. There's
like
probably
the
some.
girls who like they like not yeah, there are some, but if for well, I'll put it like this: you grab 100 women, and you see who's hardcore like on our level, 15 to 20 tops out of 100.
Yeah, I don't even think it's
You
that
pull
high,
that.
dude. I think it's much lower than that.
It,
But
it,
no,
it
most women
probably is.
mostly
I
want the
said
beefcake,
tops.
dude. Yeah, no.
I'm saying at that much. The majority of them, they'll go to the movies. They'll watch the shows. They might buy a T-shirt if the shirt looks cool, but that's it. That's about as far as into it as they get.
Hmm.
They're they're more casual, and like I said, the hardcore ones, they're the ones who are gonna go view this multiple times, even if they hated it. They go view it multiple
Sure.
times.
May I give a little bit of cinema history? May I?
Let's see
Go
it.
ahead.
Okay. There was a time, especially back in the 70s, early 80s, where there were a lot of exploitation type of filmmaking going on, right? And those things today, they boohoo, right? But of course, they made a lot of money. And one of those, Italy, of course, we don't even think of Italy as a cinema place anymore, do we? But they used to be big time players, right? Big time, particularly
Mhm.
in horror and the exploitation thing. And one of those exploitations was nun exploitation. There was a ton of movies that came out with nuns and possession and the devil. And one of the reasons they were really successful is because there was a lot of TNA in it. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
There's just some weird fetish with nuns and tits. I don't know. It just was a thing. But I saw something recently. which I watched the trailer and laughed, and I didn't watch it. It was called Warrior Nun. hmm hmm and I was like, okay, there's some kick-ass ladies. All right, fine, that's part of it. But are there any tits on display? Any tits at all? Anywhere? Anywhere? No, no tits. So it's like, yeah, no, thank you.
Chester's out. I'm out.
I'm just out.
No boobies.
Just
No,
out.
no interest.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's this concept that they have to take these things that are generally stuff that have created to draw male audiences mainly,
Yes, sir.
and try to get them to, because what they're really trying to do, and this is the thing, because you say this all anti-male, and I guess in a way it is, but really what they're trying to do is change the thinking of women. This is what they're actually doing. Like,
Mm.
women, you need to like this too. Women, come over here and spend money on our stuff. Women, this is for you, women. They're basically trying to change the zeitgeist of what it is to think woman, right? They're trying very hard and they're failing miserably, right? But they keep trying because we keep looking at it and saying, well, this is just anti-male. And like I said, well, by default it is. But it's not really what they're doing. They're trying to get the female audience. And I kind of understand that. If you have something and it's only appealing to 50% of the audience, if you could get that other 50% on, well, that's more money for you, right? I get it. But it's not working. You're not getting that 50% and you're losing the other 50%. And this is why we see that the idea of go woke, get broke coming to fruition, right? But it's just this weird concept. Why do you think you need to change women's minds? Why is it you think that you believe that women need to like what men like, that they need to do what men do, they need to be men? Why is that? They're not. They're not interested in it. Why is it you're trying to change women? Because that's what it is. If you look at all these things that are going on, that we are just a side note where they don't even care about us. The whole thing is about women. And it's like, why are you so desperate to make women men?
for
It's
their money.
but it's a weird, it's a hard sell, dude. And it's such a labor intensive, propaganda, machine that you have to get into. That's such a long haul, and you're not ever going to be really successful with it. I just don't understand the endeavor, you know?
It's for the money.
Yeah, I know
Women
it's
spend
always
more
about
than
money, but
men.
it's just, I think you could do it in a simpler way, right?
But here's the funny thing: with the way Disney has been fucking up with their Marvel shit.
hmm
I've already said it before. They only got 2 bullets left in the gun. That's the Fantastic Four and the X.
Yep.
And everybody's already ready to assume that they're gonna fuck up Fantastic Four. I sure am. If they fuck up the X-Men, because the X-Men is that one franchise in all of Marvel besides Spider-Man that has mass appeal. Like, as much as I like the Fantastic Four, they didn't reach the level of the X-Men. Like, the X-Men during that Claremont Jim Lee era had mainstream mass appeal.
hmm
It's the one time you could probably throw that 50-50 split as far as men and women, and it be somewhat accurate. Because girls know that show. They know that they know the women of the X-Men
hmm
more so than any other comic franchise out here.
Sure. A lot of
They
good
know
women
that
in
they
X-Men.
know that lineup.
Yeah. Well, now to be
And
fair,
if
in
they
this
fuck
article,
that up,
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I'm saying if they fuck that up to where the women, because a lot of these race swaps and stuff are done in the favor of women,
Mm-hmm.
but that's because most of them don't know the franchises to begin with anyway.
Sure.
Um, remember the last time they talked about race swapping a franchise that women really like? Remember that one? It was Buffy. They was talking about race swapping Buffy the Vampire
Oh, right,
Slayer,
right.
and
Yeah.
how quickly
Little Mermaid.
women circled the wagons on that shit.
Yeah, Little Mermaid. They got a lot of noise coming out of that. It's true. It is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, this article specifically mentions that they are race swapping the hell out of the X-Men, although there will be a bone, I guess, for the white dudes. But they didn't talk anything about, specifically said there's no noise about actually gender swapping, though, just race swapping, which is interesting. Now,
It's because of and that's because of Twitter mostly.
maybe, and there are a lot of great
Hell's
females in the X-Men. That is true. Ben says, but the thing also with we've talked about this. I did a whole history on it from Stan Lee's point of view. The X-Men were intentionally created to be of multiple races and genders. They were made that way intentionally. But anyway, Ben says something kind of interesting here. Meanwhile, the Hallmark Channel keeps making the same hits over and over again. They know their demographic and are locked in, as they should. To be
That's
fair,
true.
he says the Fantastic Four has been busted up 3 times. Well, you know, Ben, I just saw a really pretty solid Hallmark movie. I'd say it's a good 5.5, maybe even a 6. It was really, really
Uh-oh.
good. You should go watch it. It's called Halloween Ends.
God damn it.
It's wholesome.
It's true,
It's
dude.
wholesome.
Dude, that is such a freaking Lifetime Channel show. Come on. It's so ridiculous. I mean, because as far as this new Halloween reboot, the 3 movies they did, as far as movie making, it's fine. It's a pretty good movie, actually, pretty solid movie. But as far as a Halloween movie, it's absolutely disaster, dude.
Yeah.
It's an absolute disaster. But it's a great Hallmark movie, Ben. You should go watch it. Okay. Let's move
And
on.
he is
Right,
correct.
though.
They have
screwed
fucked up.
Fantastic Four
They-
every time.
Yeah, they have. But like I said, the Fantastic Four still did not even in the '90s when almost all the major Marvel franchises had at least like a weekend cartoon.
Yeah.
And the Fantastic Four had one as well.
They've had several.
They still was not on the X-Men's level. Everybody, male and female, knows that damn theme song.
No, that's
Everyone.
true. And even
That's
way back.
That's what I'm talking about with mass appeal. Right now, the women of the X-Men are the only group that you could just randomly pull those characters and they know who it is. You couldn't do that.
I can speak
Up
to that
until the
specifically.
MCU, you couldn't have done that with the Avengers.
With my,
Hell, you
with
still
my,
can't do that with half the women on the Avengers.
yeah, I don't even know half of them anymore. With my wife specifically, she's not a big comic book person. Like she likes comics well enough, but it's not her deal. But she likes the X-Men and she loves Storm.
Well, yeah.
Loves Storm.
Yeah, Storm's cool. But I mean, when the X-Men came out initially, the original X-Men, it really was a big boost economically for Marvel. Because you got to
Oh,
keep
yeah.
in mind, Marvel has never been really super financially successful except for
Yeah.
one little period. They've had a lot of trouble. But the original X-Men did give them a bump, and then Claremont's, 2 decades later or a decade and a half later, Claremont's X-Men saved the damn company.
Yeah.
So
That became their flagship.
yeah. It's the X-Men are important. But we're going to get a lot of shenanigans. It's coming.
If they, I'm gonna put it like this: if I was at Disney, anybody who's there that knows this is coming, if you know they're gonna go through with this, just look for a new job because
Yeah.
this is gonna go badly.
It is, and
That-
they are tripling down. They are. We can see that.
It's
Warner Brothers
Disney. I've been telling you guys, Disney's never gonna stop. Ever.
No, they don't
Ever.
seem to. Yeah.
They've been doing it my whole life. They're not going to stop with the social engineering. It's literally all they are. They're not an entertainment company. They're a social engineering company.
Yeah.
I don't know who's paying their bills. I don't know why they exist the way they do, but that is what they are, and they have been for a very long time.
No, it's
The only reason the MCU worked at all is because they put it on hold a little bit and told decent to great stories with these superheroes and just kind of took it from the page to the screen for the most part, for most of them, especially the ones that mattered the most. And that's why it worked, because it's never made sense to me, and I would love for a Hollywood person to explain it to me, how you fuck up a comic book movie. How do you do it?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Because it should be easy.
Pretty
They
basic,
already
yeah.
gave you the scene. Just make it.
Yeah. That's I always thought that was weird. But we are seeing a lot of shifts elsewhere, but not at Disney. And
No.
Disney is saying quite the opposite. They're saying that they're right. they're openly saying we're not changing because we're doing the right thing. We are
That's
correct,
right.
and our fans love it, which I don't think that's true, but that's what they're saying. So they're not going to change. And even in this article, they do mention that Disney is tightening the budget, and they're having a
Yeah.
hard time finding a way to balance it because the only way they think for them to race swap properly is just have big names come
Right.
in, and that will dampen the effect. But they can't afford it.
Look,
Well, that and who do
I
they
think.
have?
Well, well, because of Twitter, they got this little shit. Oh, Giancarlo Esposito should be Professor X. Look, I think
What?
Giancarlo Esposito is a great
I
actor.
like him, yeah.
He's a good actor. He's a likable guy. But if they cast him as Professor X, I'm throwing fucking Molotov cocktails at fucking Disney. All right?
Well, dude, I guarantee you, Professor X will be the swapped one, even though it doesn't make sense, but he will be.
No,
And they're
none of them. Just there should be no more. I know that they won't stop, but it should stop.
Should.
yeah.
They should.
X-Men,
we'll get
like
the
I was
honey
saying,
badger here for sure.
it had mainstream success, and hey, dumbasses, it actually did it with organic diversity.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
They
most
genuinely-
diverse mainstream comic book is X-Men.
Yes.
By far.
People love Storm. They love
Love
Bishop. They
My
love Gambit and Rogue. They even
Forge.
you have even a large section of fans who love Forge, characters like Forge and Jubilee and Banshee. They literally had something for everybody. You
That's right.
don't need to do this.
Yeah, they
They
intentionally
even
made
have
it
a
international.
badass Jew in Magneto. What more do you
Well,
want?
Hell,
Actually,
before
I do
before it
believe
was
that,
a big deal, you even had your LGBT representation with Mystique and Destiny.
Yep.
So you don't
Oh,
even
yeah?
need to fucking do that shit.
right?
So
It's
Um,
all there.
you had it all. You literally have a franchise that did it all and did it all well. Just adapt the fucking thing. You
Yeah.
fucking retarded apes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but
If
they,
you
they
wanna make
won't.
money.
But once
They
again,
won't,
you
yeah.
talk about Magneto, but isn't Xavier a Jew as
He's
well?
gonna be Magneto now.
Well, no, hold on a second. Isn't
Hang on.
Xavier a Jew as well? I know his
Is he?
I
wife
believe he was.
His wife was. Yeah, I don't know if he is though. I'd have
Pretty
to check.
sure he is.
Well,
It
Professor
doesn't
X is
really
a bit of a hoe when you think
He is. He likes him some ladies.
Are we going to really bring the Shi'ar into this? Okay.
amongst many.
matter though, because the overall point is
Lalandra is not even the only one. She'd have to get in line like 3 or 4 girlfriends back
That's
before
true.
you even get to
listen,
her.
his legs don't work, but his dick does.
I
Why
guess.
hate
Does it
Why
though?
hate him?
I don't
It
know.
must.
Maybe.
It
I
must.
don't know. Maybe he's got the biggest dick in the astral plane.
Or maybe he's just a trumpet player. Anyway,
Oh God. But
so
it's like we were saying here. There's no if you're gonna do the X-Men, and we know they're gonna, because why wouldn't they? There's literally no reason.
Ben!
Yes, they do. There's literally no reason to mess with that formula. None. Just like the
Yes.
Eternals. The Eternals were already all different colors. There was no reason to mess with it, but they
Because
still
they were
messed with it.
intentionally all as well.
Yes.
But yes, man, Bigfoots need more representation, or is it big feets?
They actually, I agree. They
Yeah.
only got Beast, and that's just
That's
Sabretooth.
true. Yeah, Sabretooth. Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I'll go one further. I'll play it politically correct for Ben. Look, Ben, I got a Molotov cocktail for you ready to throw if
Mhm.
Ben Grimm is anything but a Jewish dude from New York.
Yeah.
I mean, I might.
I got a
Yeah,
Molotov
there you
cocktail rating for you. You can
There
throw
you
him
go.
with me.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
Ben Grimm. Can we
but
please get Ben Grimm right, please? He's
that would
very
be
important.
nice. Yeah.
Great.
But Ben, you'll have to give me that correction. Is it Bigfoots or Big Feets, please?
Big feet.
So moving along.
Good old Big Feets. The eternal question. New Evil Dead Rise sequel drops first look at Deadites. Confirms official release date.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you the picture the single picture they have, but I want to talk about this and see what we think. Sam Raimi has passed this on. He's chosen a director, and a writer. It's chosen a writer. I don't know if they've chosen a director, Raimi has passed it on. So his hands are technically in it, but he's out of it. Our boy here, Bruce, is not involved. He's not attached. Who knows? Big footsies. Thank you very much, Ben. They might pull him in for a little bag of money to do a cameo. Who knows? But he's not going to be in it because it's a completely new storyline. Okay, well, which I'm all on board for, right? Okay, we're
So
not
this is
doing.
not Ash.
It's not Ash. Yeah, it's not Ash. It's completely something different, right? All right, cool. That's fine, right? However, it's set in New York, I think, and we have a bunch of ladies because it seems like the whole cast is female, by the way. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's in a building, and it's some skyscraper, rundown building, and in the basement is the Necronomicon is somewhere in the basement, and and they read it aloud, I'm sure, and we get the whole Deadeye thing going on again. Now here's the question: we don't have Ash involved; they're doing something completely different. Cool. All right, fine. Because if you're going to do Ash, you got to have Bruce Campbell. I mean, plain and simple. So do something different. Cool. We've been screaming this for years, right?
Yep.
But what do you think about the concept that this is an entire female cast? There are no men involved.
Dumb. Fail. We've tried this, and every time it fails. Every
Yeah.
time. It has, in fact, I don't think it's succeeded yet. Ever
No,
in
it
the
hasn't.
history of cinema.
Um,
So
Here's your picture, by
I
the
don't
way.
know. They keep trying it. It keeps failing. I
Yeah.
guess, what is the definition of insanity? Trying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? Okay,
Yeah.
well, here you go.
well,
Yeah.
it's not even just that. They have yet to realize it. They want to blame men for this, but women don't watch that shit
That's right.
because
Yeah.
women want to see dudes.
Yeah, of course they do. Now,
Imagine that.
yeah,
Imagine that.
the main cast is all female. I'm sure there'll be a male somewhere in the background somewhere. But
He'll be an idiot.
I'm a little bit, I don't know, because cool, you're not doing Ash, you're doing something different. Good. That's good, right?
I mean,
But
and to be fair, Raimi has had prior success doing, projects with female leads that didn't suck. So
yeah, no, sure.
I could at least give the benefit of the doubt there. But
Yeah, but
even
once again,
even with that, it's like, yes, that might work on TV, but will that work at the movies where it historically doesn't?
right. Well, here what you have going on here is another Hollywood trope. Single mom, of course, with her daughters, of course, going to stay with a friend in this building who's a girl, of course. They hate families. They absolutely just hate families.
Okay,
So
I gotta ask the question: what kind of slumber party are you letting your kids go to where the Necronomicon is fucking present?
and that you're reading it,
I need to fucking know this.
and what random human could read it? I mean, how
Yes.
many humans do you know that could read ancient Sumerian?
You.
One. Yeah.
Yeah,
Me.
exactly.
Clacto errata.
Gonna start
But-
hearing about it.
but
We're gonna
it's-
start hearing about a rash of national disasters happening in
Yes,
Japan, and we're
yes.
just gonna have to pretend we
Yes.
don't know what the source of it is.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know. It could be great fun though. I mean, who knows, right? But it's just why do that though? At least one of the kids be a boy. You know.
Be nice.
No, that
Yeah, I
means
don't
that
get
has a dad. Look, we
Your
all know,
dad,
Chester,
yeah.
that the American family is. We don't have they don't have dads anymore. We just have in vitro fertilization.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So all the kids test tube babies, and everybody's lesbian apparently.
What
So
do you guys think of this Deadite picture?
I'm over zombies.
I'm gonna
Well,
be
these
honest.
aren't zombies; these
that-
are demons. But
Yeah, but look at it. What's it look like?
I'm-
Looks like a
Yeah,
zombie.
I'm gonna be honest. That doesn't look like anything demonic. That looks like
this.
slasher. That looks like a slasher costume. Well, that one looks more. That's demonic.
Yeah.
Now that's the kind of shit you don't fucking watch in the dark when you're on some drugs.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, dark and the drugs. That's fair. But whatever. I mean,
That other shit down there, that just looks like cosplay.
yeah.
Like,
Now,
that doesn't look scary in the least.
no, but man, it's just like a a little Halloween thing they threw up. But now,
And they got that thing wrong. They could have swore Evil Dead was not in 1981.
um, I'm not sure. But now, Ash versus the Evil Dead was fun, and they brought in Xena, Warrior Princess, which was cool. And so they had fun with that. Like I said, they don't have to continue with Ash, do a completely different story. I mean, just don't swap Ash. Just do something different. So I'm cool with that. This was an absolute disaster. This Evil Dead remake. It's once again not understanding the source material, right?
That was 81.
Uh,
Stand corrected.
because with the remake of the Evil Dead, they went super serious, and they just didn't understand that the original Evil Dead it's a tongue in cheek, it's a comedy, right?
Yeah, it's camp.
It's campy, and this thing was way serious. And of course, Ash is a lady because it's got to be a lady, right?
Yeah.
And it's just dumb, waste of time and money, dude. But whatever. Have you guys seen Ash versus the Evil Dead? Have you seen it?
I have not.
Oh, it's funny, dude. Go watch it. It exactly understands what it is. Yeah, yeah. Have they remade Carrie? Yes, they did. They did it with that, unfortunately, with that Zoe Moritz girl, and she played Carrie, and once again missed the point. It didn't get it right.
Yeah.
And it's when that girl just has zero presence. I mean, like I said, I hate being mean because she seems like a nice kid, but that girl has just got zero presence, man. But yeah, they remade it with her, and it's not good. Don't waste your time. That's a great scene. So many good scenes, Bruce.
Yeah, I don't know why Bruce Campbell didn't have a bigger career, to be honest. I
Yeah,
genuinely don't. I've always liked Bruce Campbell. Everything he's ever been in, I've enjoyed at least his part of it.
because he's a dude.
I guess he's
He's
too much
not
of a
he's
dude.
not on board with their shit. He's a dude. Now I loved him in Briscoe County. And he
Yeah,
was some other kind of detective thing.
he
I
was
mean,
in Burn Notice too. He was
yeah,
his mentor
Yeah.
and his buddy. He was great.
yeah. No, Bruce is awesome. But he's like Nathan Fillion. They're just too much of dudes, and that's not what Hollywood wants. They don't want dudes.
Man, oh man, a young Bruce Campbell as Nathan Drake. Oof.
Oh wow,
Oh, that would
yeah,
have been
would have
good.
been
That
great.
would have
Yeah,
been good. Because
That would
he's
have
got
sold.
that charisma and that person. He's got the similar personality like Fillion does, right? They're kind of sarcastic boys, and that's just Nathan Drake all over. It's very
yeah.
sarcastic.
Yeah. No, he would have been great at that.
Yeah,
And when they're putting the characters that they're allowed to be who they are, it works well. It's kind of
yeah,
like when you take someone out of character. Like a good example would be Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams.
yeah,
You have a guy who's famous for being off the wall, and you put him in a role where he has to play a robot.
yeah.
What are you,
Doesn't work.
stupid? It's just stupid, right?
Just don't work. Just don't
What
work.
about Good
It's kind of
Morning
like trying to
Vietnam?
give Ryan Reynolds a serious role. Nobody's gonna believe him. Nobody takes him serious. He's too much of a yuck guy. Everybody knows
Yeah,
he's a
sure.
yuck
Well,
guy. So it just doesn't work.
it's like having Gilbert Godfrey as a funeral director.
I would
Oh,
have
that would
loved
just be
that.
hilarious.
Well, if it was done fun, but I mean, just a straight role, right? It's like
Trying to
what?
make it a very serious drama about funerals.
Yeah, and having
Gilbert
Gilbert
Gottfried's in
Godfrey.
there.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh crap!
We didn't get enough Gilbert Godfrey. We
No, but
didn't.
he's canceled big time though. He said, I don't know. He
Well,
said something.
he's
I don't know.
very canceled. He's dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's canceled from Earth.
Well, then he's extra canceled. They got him. But whatever. So this is supposed to be coming out in it's supposed to be coming out in April, dude. So they're well into it, dude. They're well
That's
into
coming.
this.
It
And
should be well done.
maybe I don't know. Like I said, they just did Hellraiser, and they replaced Pinhead with a female without the story they could have done. We know there's a story that would have let them do that, and it was very weird. Why? The Cenobites are all very different depending on their fetish and vice, right? They're unique. You could have put a female Hell Priest come in, and she was just something different, but no, it
Yep.
had to be Pinhead, right?
Yep.
And of course, it's not very good anyway. It's better than the crap we've been getting for so many years. But you got to keep in mind a lot of those Hellraiser movies that have been out over the past decade or so. all they're there is simply to keep the rights. I mean, that's why
Correct.
they're so bad. Those things are not even Hellraiser movies. They're other scripts, and they just threw the Cenobites on it just to keep the IP, right?
Right.
So it's the first real, actual, dedicated Hellraiser movie we've had in quite a while. So therefore, of course, it's better than the last so much stuff. But it's not a great movie. But it's once again, you had a storyline. You could have made her female, but whatever. It's just this dumb thinking, dude. Dumb thinking. Anyway, let's have a little bit of fun.
Oh boy. Well, there's one right there in the middle that's amazingly problematic nowadays.
Is it?
Well, to white liberals it is. No, this is actually good because that was the last decade they were, allowed to be funny. So we
Right.
haven't had a really. I mean, aside from a few here or there have not been many good comedies in the last
Right.
decade or so.
Well, this the top 10 comedies films of the 2000s. This might well extend up to today. I would think. I don't know. I haven't. Of course, I don't look at these.
Well, usually when the people say the 2000s, they mean before 2011 or up to 2010, depending on how you break it down.
I see.
Usually, but we'll see.
All right. Well, let's check it out here. These are always fun, and see how Frank is doing. He had another one I could have chose. I could have chose his top 10 Morgan Freeman movies.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but I thought this would be more broad. So let's take a
Lean
look
on
here.
Me wasn't on that list. We'd have to kill Frank.
Probably, yeah. So let's see how you did here, Frank. Number 10, Waiting. No clue. Never heard of it.
You've never seen Waiting?
No.
Waiting's pretty good. I think you'd like Waiting.
Looks
Pretty
like
good.
a rom-com to me.
I don't know why they chose this picture because, yeah, but I think you'd like Waiting. It's a bit of one, but not really. I think you'd like it. It's pretty funny. It's your kind of humor.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I have no clue. It looks like a rom-com to me.
It's what he was doing before he was actually famous. He
Who?
started making, him right there. Who is that?
I don't know. Some Chad.
Some Chad. That's who we'll go with.
Okay. Really? Waiting? They offer that to Kevin Smith to direct. Oh, did they? Oh, goodness. I don't know because I didn't really like Kevin Smith stuff very much. But it's very okay. Well, I don't know this movie at all. Do you like it, Grimlock?
I never watched. I've never seen that movie.
Yeah, never even heard of it.
Lester,
Yeah.
how do you not recognize? Are you messing with me?
Of course, I'm messing with you.
You better be. Who is it then? Let's hear.
Ryan Reynolds.
That's right. No, this honestly, this is what got him his. Because like it might even be in here. Van Wilder movies like that were his bread and butter until he started to get more actiony roles. He thought he was broke out when he got Green Lantern, but oh boy, did
you
he
kind of
think wrong.
You kind of got to put a gun to my head for this kind of movie, though.
Yeah.
I don't like rom-coms. I'm not a big fan.
It's not really a rom-com though. It's actually more of like a coming-of-age comedy, to be honest.
Yeah, all right, fine.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of American Pie either. Anyway,
well,
Breakfast Club was supposed to be a big deal for my generation. I was like, eh.
Yeah, but that's that a comedy?
16 Candles,
Well, that's an actual rom-com. Now you're in full rom-com territory.
Well, these are those
that's
type of things.
rom-com. Every freaking girl in the world has seen that nonsense.
Yeah. Although there was one hottie in that though. Anyway, I don't know this movie. Let's move on. Scary Movie. Never seen it. I never heard of it.
It's pretty good, but I don't know if I'd put it on this list, to be honest.
Now, I've always thought this was funny though, because there's like 4 or 5 of these. It's a parody, a comedic parody of a parody.
That's correct. Yes.
My brain hurts.
Yeah, it's deep levels of ironic inception.
Yes.
That's where we're at.
I was never a big fan of Scream. I know it's not my generation. It's your generation, you guys. It's your big thing, and I get it. But it was really a parody of slasher movies, and I was like, I get it. Okay.
Scary Movie is, how do I put it? You're right. It's a parody, but it's a parody about the whole genre.
Yeah, it is.
They just throw the theme here. And there's some of them are actually really funny. Most of them are garbage, but there's a couple of them that are. I think the first 2 are pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've never seen them. This is like a Wayans Brothers project, isn't it?
It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, I used to watch There in Living Color, and it was funny, but I just never watched one of these movies. But cool. Seems the Captain Canada likes it. That means it must be good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got great
Okay.
taste.
Finally, we come to one I've seen. Now, Shaun of the Dead is a great movie.
Shaun of the Dead is a great movie, genuinely, and Booster would be very happy this is on here. He's a big Simon Pegg fan.
Peg's okay.
He might actually have another one on here. We'll get
He
when we
better.
get down the
He
list.
better have another one on here. Yes.
But yeah, Shaun of the Dead is fantastic.
It's
The
fun.
the ending little credit scene where the chick has a zombie lover and all. It's so good. It's
Yeah.
so good. It's just taking the piss out of zombie movies entirely, and the
Yeah, it's
weird
another
obsession we
parody.
had.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weird obsession our whole culture had in the West with zombies for like 15, 20 years there. I don't know. I don't know where that came from, what that was about, but it was pretty prevalent, and Shaun of the Dead is probably the best comedic take on it. I
Yeah,
would
no,
say.
it's a good movie, and you're right,
Yeah.
Ben. Captain Canada says that Leslie Nielsen is the president of the United States in Scary Movie 3. Well, no, that's worthy
Yes.
watching just there because he's
Just
awesome.
Leslie himself. Just 5 minutes of him doing dialogue is worth watching
Yeah,
for any
yeah,
price.
dude. Especially
It's hilarious.
if he's got his whoopee cushion with him, it's always good. Yeah, but yeah, Shaun of the Dead, good movie. Let's see here. Oh, fuck off, Frank. God
Oh.
damn it, Frank. This shit.
It's overrated.
Oh, it's horrible.
It is overrated.
So dumb, dude. Oh
But
god,
for
it's brain
people who
dead.
were in their 20s when this movie came out, it dominated our culture for 5 years after it came out.
did.
It did. And it shouldn't have, because I've watched it again like a couple years ago, and I'm like, okay, I get why it did, but it's really not that good.
No, it's
It's
not.
just
This
not.
movie was made specifically for Limp Bizkit fans. Fuck right off.
I'm gonna be honest. I never thought that guy was ever that funny to begin
He's
with.
not, because
I
he's
didn't care.
not.
I didn't care for his HBO show either, because that's where he really blew up. Was that fucking Ali G shit that he did on HBO, and I didn't think it was funny then.
Well, he's trying to do the Andy Kaufman thing, right?
Yeah.
But the thing with Andy is his timing is impeccable. This guy's not.
And Andy can take a pile driver.
Yeah, he can.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Andy was a spectacular troll.
Yes, he was.
Where you never
Could you imagine
you
Andy
ne-
Kaufman with the internet? Oh my god.
It would be great.
Dude, Andy Kaufman was alive today. Holy fuck.
I think
It would be
Elon's got a
more.
little bit of Andy in him.
If people think if
Oh
Andy Kaufman was alive with a Twitter account, people thought he was a shitlord din.
Oh
Imagine
my
if he
god.
really fuck with you now.
Oh, it'd be great. Yeah, it'd be great. But no, Borat sucks balls.
Yeah, he's
And is this true, Joshua? Borat is going to be Mephisto. What?
That's the rumors I'm hearing.
I
yeah.
heard that they was talking about having him as Mephisto.
Yeah, no, I cannot stand this guy. Although his brother is quite an accomplished scientist.
He is. That's truthful.
Yeah.
It's accurate.
Yeah. But anyway, god damn it, Frank. All right, fine. I would have put
I
this
know
10.
you hate him.
Well, I would have put
know
this
you
10.
hate him, but Anchorman is good
It
shit.
is funny.
Come on.
But it's
Yeah.
not funny because of him. It's funny because of Carell.
Well, yeah, but that's
And
what
others.
he is, though. That's what he is, though. He's the guy who can be in the movie that the other people can be really funny around. I've always thought that about Will Ferrell. He
Oh,
has some
fair.
moments where he'll break
Oh,
me,
fair.
but usually it's his supporting cast that makes his movies great. And when he has
And
a
he
bad one,
had a really good one here.
yeah. Oh my god, he's
Yeah, it
probably
is
the
funny.
best one ever. Yeah. This and Step Brothers, which is probably also on here. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Same
if
thing.
this is up here, Step Brothers is probably gonna be up
Yeah.
here.
I don't even know that
This
one.
was Will Ferrell's era, right? The 2000s. That was his time to shine, and he put out some funny shit. He generally did.
I'm just not a fan. Roger's disappointing the hell out of me over here.
I'm not really a fan of him either, but there's a handful of like roles that he did that was really good. This was actually one of those roles.
Yeah. He still does it. He does a podcast as this character. It's on its like 6th season, something like that.
Nah, every time, even in this movie, every time I see him speak, I want to murder him. But there are
The
some funny
hatred is
things in this.
real.
I really don't like Will Ferrell. He sucks balls. But
we now we really know what triggers Chester. This is great.
yes. Well, I would watch Sacha Baron Cohen any day
Oh
No,
as
my
you
Will
God.
wouldn't.
Ferrell.
Over
No,
Ron
no, you
Burgundy?
wouldn't.
It's all torture anyway.
There you go. That was the generational movie right there
It was. It
for my
Super
was.
bad,
generation.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ben, we
And
all suffered from
and
Miss Will Ferrell.
I will stand by my previous statements of all of Jonah Hill's comedic chops was apparently stored in his fat because the moment he lost weight, he just tell the truth. Nigga ain't been funny since he's lost weight. He hasn't.
True.
No,
But in fairness to him, he's been trying to be a more serious actor, you see. An
I mean,
actor.
that's fine too, but I mean, God almighty.
well, Ben, that doesn't work in written form because I can say niche. But no, this fella here, he's always struck me as desperate.
Yeah, a bit. But this movie here
Who, Hill or
is
Michael Cera?
Yeah,
well,
both of these guys.
yes.
Yeah, both.
Yes,
Yeah,
is the answer to that
yeah,
question.
both. Yeah.
This movie here, though, is literally like you said, 16 Candles. It was my generation, 16
Yeah,
Candles.
yeah,
It
it's
was that
generational.
definitional.
It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I understand that. And it's I've seen it. It's not bad. It's not a bad movie at all. No clue.
You guys trying to start trouble. This is not the Seth Rogen movie I would have chosen, but it
was one of his
exists.
better ones.
This up here
It is one of his better ones.
This is Seth Rogen too.
He wrote that one, but this one he was the star. I don't know if he wrote Knocked Up or not, but he was actually in as a star. And Superbad, he just has a bit part.
Which he was actually better at.
I don't even know that. I've never heard of this movie, dude.
It's literally about a one-night stand gone wrong and what happened,
Why would a
comedic
hottie like
shenanigans.
that be with a freaking mug Jew like that?
Because it's
Because they both got
Hollywood.
drunk as fuck. That's why.
Oh, I see. All right.
But no, it's
again,
not. It definitely shouldn't be number 4, especially not above Anchorman. Are you kidding?
Yeah, no. That should be 9 or 10 if one
At
was
best.
involved.
I've never even seen it. And I doubt I missed anything. Okay, moving on.
Didn't.
No,
Tropic
it's all right.
Thunder.
There it is.
That
is his greatest role of all time, and I will not hear any other suggestions. Tom Cruise, he killed that role.
Yeah,
he was
this
unbelievable.
Is overrated, dude. It is overrated.
Oh, this guy, listen to him. I think the reason why this movie is so beloved is because it's become a symbol for what we've lost. We are not allowed to be this irreverent anymore. It's just not. It just doesn't happen. And even his character here, the ridiculous, over the top Jewish Hollywood producer guy, was so ridiculous. And no, for some reason, he doesn't get any shit over for it. Even though he's ethnic swapping too. And it's such a ridiculous caricature of a complete and total asshole. He's a complete asshole. Very little redeeming qualities about him. But he does it so well.
And
Tom Cruise makes that movie more than any other character. He's so good.
And McConaughey's a guy from Texas who drinks whiskey.
Yeah. McConaughey exists in that film. He's completely irrelevant.
He is the McConaughey. That's true. But all right, whatever. I would not have put that as high as that. To be honest with you, Hot Fuzz better be above this, dude. It better be.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
Oh, what? Another? I have never heard of this movie, dude. Ever.
You know what's coming next, don't you? If this is on here, you know what's that. I'm just gonna let Chester see it.
It's gonna be Talladega Nights, isn't it?
I'm just gonna let Chester see it.
Dude, I've never even heard of this movie.
It's another
that was one of Will Ferrell's more annoying movies, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree. And it's not even his movie, actually. He's just in it. It's what's the guy? It's what's his name's brother? The Wilson boys. Not the one with the nose, the other one. He's the main character. No, is it Luke or it's Luke? Yeah, Luke Wilson. He's the main character of this movie.
Never heard.
It's I don't hate old school. I'll watch it, but it's not No, it's definitely not above Anchorman.
So Frank is
Anchorman
disappointing
is
again.
amazing. He is. He is.
That
Frank.
should be
Frank.
lower on the list.
Well,
Frank.
Ben, I was probably busy being a dad.
It did dominate culture when it came out. That's
Yeah,
true.
I have no clue.
That
Never
was what
even
Will
heard of it.
Ferrell was doing at this time. He was just pumping out in films that were just dominating culture for whatever, whether you liked him or you didn't, he was everywhere. And I think that's kind of killed his career. He was just everywhere for too quick, too much too soon, and people were just tired of him.
Yeah, no, I never liked Will from day one. Anyway, let's see what number one is, because most of the stuff on this list I've never heard of. So
Here it
If it's not
comes.
Dodgeball, God
What?
damn it.
Oh, I'm
what?
shocked. I was expecting Step Brothers. I was expecting the rage from Chester. I don't think it should be number one,
No
but it
way.
should definitely be on this list.
Well, this is a
Wedding
better-
Crashers was
Okay,
This is
no,
a better
let's-
Vince Vaughn movie,
Frank-
that's for sure.
Yeah.
No. See, I need to have an Italian play date with Frank. I need to have the Italian play date. You know, I bring the crowbars, some cinder blocks. I just talk to Frank.
Yeah.
Because
Talk to him.
Hot
Just wanna
Fuzz,
talk to him.
dude, Hot Fuzz isn't even on the list.
Hot
dude.
Fuzz
That's
and fucking
ridiculous.
Dodgeball are not on the list.
Hot
Dodgeball was
Fuzz,
great
Dodgeball,
fun.
Knocked Up is Knocked
Step
Up
Brothers
and Waiting.
isn't on here. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, Step Brothers.
Yeah. Let me.
What are we actually
let
doing?
Me, let me do something here real quick. Best comedies of the 20th century. Ben has lost his shit over here. Okay, someone help Ben out. Best comedies of the 21st century. Oh yeah, not the 20th, the 21st. What am I doing? I'm a dumbass.
Chester's in the wrong
okay.
country.
No, we agree, Ben. Ben
Well,
has
Ben-
lost it. Yes. Yeah.
Then, in true Mafia fashion, I extend my crowbar
I'm-
to you. You can get Frank's
is how
left
you
leg.
know-
I'll get the right.
This is how you know that was written by a man named Frank, that list.
Yeah.
Because if it was written by a female, Bridesmaids would be on that list.
Yeah,
And I would
which is
actually
a funnier
agree.
movie.
Bridesmaids is hilarious.
It is funnier
Truly.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zombieland, okay, it's funny. I don't know if it's number one. Let's see what else they got. Shaun of the Dead, great. Due Date, No Clue. The Hangover, it's okay.
Hangover, yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Adventureland, I've never seen this. I heard it's good though. No, fuck off. 21 Jump Street. Pain and Gain, yeah, it's not a bad flick. Don't know. Oh yeah, that was dumb. Dumb. Kick Ass, okay, fine. And don't know. Ted, yeah, Ted, but that was
That's fine.
2012.
that
Let's
was a
see
little late.
here. Anchorman, of
Anchorman.
course.
Anchorman
Step Brothers,
2.
never seen it, never
Yeah.
even heard of it.
You've never
Zoolander,
seen Step Brothers is so good. It's actually a good Will Ferrell movie.
I don't like
Yeah.
Will Ferrell.
Zoolander wasn't on that list either, and Zoolander was huge. Now, whether or not
Yeah.
it was hilarious, it was humongous.
It was big, and it had a couple of funny moments. Paul, no, fuck off. Hall Pass, never heard of it. Kumar, I've
Kumar,
seen it. I don't
I
know.
would have put it on the top 10, but yeah, it's funny.
So many of
Next
these I've never
Friday.
heard of, dude. I've never heard of it. This Scott Pilgrim thing, it was
Scott Pilgrim as a comedy?
Yeah, Pineapple.
Wow,
Zack and Miri make a
I don't
porno.
know
That would
these
be the
movies,
one.
dude.
If I was gonna pick a Seth Rogen movie, if someone literally
Juno?
forced me to, then it would be Zack and
Juno?
Miri.
Juno's a comedy? No, it's not.
I didn't think Juno was no comedy.
Blades of Glory.
Talladega Nights. Fuck off. Cohen. Yeah, I don't know these things. I just don't know. I guess I don't watch comedies, I suppose. Huh? 40-Year-Old
Jane
Virgin was
Silent
funny.
Yeah, how was 40-Year-Old Virgin not on that list?
God, yeah, that was also a generational movie.
Kung Fu
Napoleon
Hustle was
Dynamite.
also fun.
Holy
Napoleon
shit!
Dynamite.
We need to have a talk with Frank.
Yeah, I don't know
Austin
what Frank's
Powers,
doing.
member. I didn't even think of that.
We need to have a serious talk with Frank. Gold member, fuck yeah, god damn.
You know,
It's almost
Meet
hard
the
to actually
Fockers.
put it to 10 when
Tom
you think
Green
about it.
can burn in hell. Yeah, fuck you, Tom Green.
Yes.
Okay. Meet the Fockers. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Frank.
Me, myself, and Irene.
Frank.
Definitely. That's
Frank
one
has
of my favorites.
problems. Frank
He
has
does.
problems.
Yes, Frank has problems. Like the kind of problems that could be fixed with a couple of well-placed crowbars to the leg.
Yes, Ben is still
Is
fuming.
actually losing his mind at the
Yes.
thought of wedding crashes.
You're
being
right, dude. And you're right.
Ben,
Wedding
I have a
crashes.
I have a crowbar here for you.
Yes.
You can get the left leg.
Yeah, let's go deal with it.
I'll be honest, there are only two lines I remember from that movie, and both of them came from Vince Vaughn. One was calling Owen Wilson a motorboating son of a bitch, talking about motorboat movies. And the way Vince delivers it is hilarious because he's Vince. And then the other was him and Owen are arguing about having illicit sex at weddings with women. And he somehow gets to where he goes, "She was my first Asian!" and screams it, and everybody hears it. And it's just very funny. But that's it. The rest of that movie is completely forgettable.
Yeah.
But even still, how could you put? That's not even the best Vince Vaughn movie of that era. What the fuck
not.
is that over Dodgeball?
That's
Actually,
true.
the best Vince Vaughn movie is a prison movie. It's nothing funny about it.
That's
actually
true
a
too.
serious
But
actor
I'm
when he
saying
works in it.
amongst comedies, how did you put that over Dodgeball?
Yeah, no, it's
How did
weird.
Dodgeball not even make the list?
Yeah,
bro?
it's
That's
weird.
the real question.
But one thing we have learned is I don't watch a lot of comedies, I guess.
I like this line. I have to say it because this is a good line. Ben has I have found a thing that will unify the left and the right. Beating Frank with crowbars. Yes, sir. You're
Yes.
correct.
Yes. We're gonna have to bring Frank on. We have to have a
We're gonna
conversation
have to
with
get
Frank.
him. Yeah, I'll have to see if I can get him. We'll
Get a
have to
hold
do
of
it.
Frank.
And
Frank,
get
we're
a
gonna
get a
help
nice
you out.
tight grip on Frank.
Yeah, we're gonna
A
help
nice
you out.
hold on.
Yeah, we're gonna help you out, Frank. But anyway,
Just wanna talk.
let's move on a little bit here, real quick. So this right here is going to take 2 seconds. Japanese Communist Party condemns Dragon Quest series over gender stereotypes and excessive sexiness. Now,
Do
I
they
go ahead.
Is it Japanese Communist
do
Party?
they not realize who's one of the key owners of this that franchise? He does not give a shit what these guys
No.
think.
No, but here's the thing. I saw this headline and I had to put it up here because this is from the Nerdigans Inc. The Communist Party in Japan is very small, and no one gives a shit what they say.
I mean, in fairness, no one should ever give a shit what communists say because they're subhuman. But the person that they're saying this to literally could not give any less of a shit. It's impossible for someone to care less than what this gentleman does. He's gonna make his sexy little stuff, and
Yep.
he's fine. He doesn't care about your opinion on the matter. In fact,
Yeah. But I just thought I had to put it in there simply because what? Okay. Moving on to our last story. Go ahead.
Elizabeth Banks and Sigourney Weaver led pro-abortion film Call Jane, never even heard of it, absolutely bombs in box office debut.
Now,
These ladies.
yeah, of course they have to push against this complete nonsense. The whole Roe versus Wade thing. Well, no, but because the actual propaganda coming out about that is so ridiculous. The Supreme Court didn't make a judgment on abortion at all. What they did was say that they don't have a right to make a judgment on abortion.
Correct.
So they didn't actually they made a non-judgment
For
on
once,
abortion.
the government actually ceded power. I know.
That's why they put
it's
constitutionals in there.
But they did.
Yeah. So once again, the propaganda is fake, as usual. I put this up here not because of this dumbass shit. There's several things like that are bombing, of course, and I don't know why Sigourney attached herself to such a thing. Because Sigourney, my girl, stay away from Elizabeth Banks. She is nothing but a failure, and I want to show that to you. So let's go take a look at the life and times of Elizabeth Banks.
He's coming for Elizabeth. He's done. He's had it with her.
Yeah, I have, dude. I have because it's so ridiculous. Now she's been. Let's go down here to the bottom real quick. Let's go down to the bottom. So here are her directorial stuff. Okay, AIDS. We did it. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Movie 43, one of the greatest bombs in Hollywood history. Right?
Yep.
Pitch Perfect 2, no clue. Charlie's Angels, mega bomb. All right. So her as a director is absolute nonsense. Her production stuff is also attached to all that.
I think that Charlie's Angels is technically the biggest bomb in Hollywood history.
Well, movie 43 was really bad too. So everything she's directed that I've ever heard of is just massive failure. just massive
Yeah.
failure, right? So let's take a look at her career. Anybody, you stop me when you've heard of something. Okay, she was in one episode of that, so she played some kind of background character. Let's
Shaft.
see here.
She was
A
barely in
background
that. Yeah.
character. Background character. Still the background, same background character. When we get to something where she's actually doing something, Beth. Now, 40-year-old virgin, Beth. I can't remember if that was a prominent character or not. Slither, once again, background character. She's still playing that secretary lady. I think that's Jonah Jameson's secretary or something, right?
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. That was definitely a failure. Okay, wait. No,
There
I'm
you go.
waiting.
Zach and Miri make a porno. She played Miri. There you go. That was a starring
Okay,
role.
so boom, the starring role right there. And
Yeah.
once again, don't know that movie.
in
What
this movie.
she did some major character here for 16 episodes on Scrubs. Let's see. So
Yep.
she's getting her name's getting bigger. Let's see here. She played that weird lady in Hunger Games. I remember that.
Yep.
Let's see. So she's basically kind of a soap opera lady who shows up on an episode or two of shows here or there. Is kind of what she does. She played a character in 30 Rock. Let's see, the Pitch Perfect thing. I don't know how prominent her character was in that. Once again, this Hunger Games thing, 43 was a major failure.
Yeah,
See,
she
I
was in Spider-Man, Joshua. She played Jameson's
think it was the
secretary.
secretary, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a very background character. I don't know about the Magic Mike. I don't know how prominent that character was. The thing I'm seeing here is not a lot of success, right? For some reason,
Right.
she's got attached to directing absolute failures,
She
right?
played Rita Repulsa in that Power Rangers that
Did
really
she?
wasn't a Power Rangers movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I see that. Yeah, no, that wasn't good either. So that's a major role, though. So Brightburn,
Never
okay.
seen Brightburn. Is
Eh,
Brightburn any good?
it's
It's just evil Superman, so I'm
yeah,
not really that
it's
interested.
okay. It could have been so much more. It could have been more. It's not horrible. Charlie's Angels absolutely horrible. She played some character in Modern Family for a little bit. Never heard of it. This one just bombed hilariously. And She plays some little one episode some
So the real
character on The
question is,
Boys.
how does she keep getting work?
Right. And directorial money, right? Because
Yeah.
she's not really successful, and she's got these things coming out, which none of them, strike me as something I've heard of before. But she just is kind of a background person, right? And that's fine. Character actors are necessary. They're invaluable, actually. But especially when you've seen that, okay, you went from that to directing, but this is, I don't know about Pitch Perfect. This could have been success. I don't know about that. But this other stuff here is just ridiculous levels of failure. So why does she keep getting opportunities? It's just one of these things because you know she's just not successful. But yet she keeps getting opportunity. And of course, I didn't even know this movie was coming out. But why would anyone talk about a movie about yay, abortion's great? I mean,
Yeah.
and of course, that's one of the most embarrassing things. I think most humans, if you talk to most humans, they would agree there are instances where abortion is vital, and it's good that we can do it safely. Then another very large chunk of humans agree that a woman should have a choice in certain situations, or at least a certain time frame, right?
Right.
To find someone who is 100% against it, no matter what, in private conversation, I think is probably pretty hard, right? But the fact that you celebrate abortion is the
Yeah.
problem
Yeah.
because there's nothing happy about it. I don't care whether you were violated or you're going to die. I don't care the situation. Yeah, I might agree that, hey, I'm glad you have the ability to get safe medical, ability to do an abortion. I'm happy for you. But in no way, in any situation, is it anything other than taking a life, and it's a sad thing. It's sad, but these women, they're celebrating abortion. It's disgusting to the nth degree. to the nth degree. I just don't understand the celebration of it. Because I'm
Mhm.
going to agree with him. Yeah, you should have a right to do that within a certain amount of time. I agree, but it's not a
Mm.
happy thing. Can
No,
someone help me out? Why
no,
would
I
you
don't. I don't
celebrate this?
understand it either. I think it's mostly just, or
Mm.
at least it started as just a jab, like a prick towards the people who are against abortion, more than anything. And for whatever reason, it metastasized into actual. I mean, the best analogy I can give you is Baal like worship, Moloch worship, where you're sacrificing your kid, and they genuinely think of it as a good thing that they've done. There are women out there, like
They
you
still
said,
do
who
that shit, dude.
actually,
I guarantee
I
it.
know, who actually celebrate it.
Yeah,
They
it's
think
weird.
it's something to be celebrated. They'll have. I know I've seen stories of these women who get tattoos about it. Like they'll have a tattoo about how many babies they've aborted. Not just insane
Mm,
shit. Like these women,
yeah,
insane.
Grimlock.
There's
That's
no
what they
reason they
call
should be.
copium.
Oh, it's
Yes.
something.
Yeah,
There's no reason they should be permitted to do these things at that level. Like that's ridiculous.
yeah,
It's obviously you just need to be sterilized. Like let's just be
yeah.
honest.
It's
You're
really
just killing
weird.
people at that
And
point.
and thank you, Ben. That's why I was hesitant about Pitch Perfect because I seem to remember that actually being popular, and that's probably why she got further opportunities because of that big hit. There you go. We found it.
Yeah.
But don't continue it because since then she has not done good stuff. So why you keep throwing good money after bad? But whatever, I don't care what Elizabeth Banks does. You do whatever you want. I just don't understand the celebration of it. It's disgusting, right?
Yeah, it is.
And
I'm just gonna say it. She must suck one hell of a good dick because there's no
maybe,
way
She
maybe.
got
that
some
this
nice
chick
tits.
can be
Pretty much.
this much associated with failure.
Well,
Well, I don't know because you know what? Over the last decade, in Hollywood, they've made it abundantly clear that because it's not their money, they don't care
oh yeah, that's
That's
true.
true.
Yeah,
if they're successful in that. So maybe not.
yeah.
Well, you
Of
also
course,
I
got guys
mean,
like Zack Snyder who keeps failing upwards too. So
that's true.
it's not
And
even a gendered issue. There's
uh,
plenty of male
well,
directors getting
to
work in it.
to be fair, Zach Wilson's worst failures are still more profitable than her biggest
That's
success.
true. That's true.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's true.
the bar is
But
a bit different.
now I don't personally know her story, of course, but when you're talking about what you're talking about, that they don't have a lot of self-respect. A lot of these actresses in Hollywood, it's quite clear. I mean, look how many of them sucked on a Weinstein cock. And have you
It,
seen the Weinsteins?
oh,
Damn,
I've seen them.
there's some ugly ass bastards, dude.
Oh, yeah,
I've seen them.
there's some aliens.
Ugly ass men. But yet they got women left and right. And I know the whole Me Too thing, but it's complete nonsense, baby. You agreed to it. You are a whore.
Yeah,
They are a
yeah,
lecher.
and
But
that's really what it is.
it
They
is.
just don't like that reality.
They don't. But the thing is the self-esteem though, because I mean, have you seen a Weinstein?
Yes, they're
They
Yeah,
are
pretty,
some
them
ugly,
some ugly motherfuckers.
and he
dudes, man.
looks dirty
They
too.
look
Like he doesn't look like
slimy, both of
he
them.
doesn't look like he's got good hygiene at all. At
No,
all.
it's
Those that
sweaty
that
and
whole region is
bleh.
stanky. Yeah,
It's like wow, dude.
yeah,
Is money that important? Really?
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Fame is a drug that people will literally sacrifice their children for. It's disgusting, but we've seen it happen to plenty of child actors. They get absolutely brutalized by these people, some literally, and their parents just sign off on it. They
yeah, no,
because
we
they
looked
want to
at
be
that, Ben.
famous.
We did. Like she didn't direct it, yeah. But
Yeah,
that's not the point I was trying to make. It's just I don't understand this lady all her success, but it looks like she did have one big hit though.
yeah.
So she did make somebody some money, so that's fine. But I just keep seeing this Elizabeth Banks come up, and I'm like, what has
But
she done?
even Kevin Smith a long time ago, like that address or whatever it was that he was giving, and he was talking about his Superman movie he was trying to make. Um, and he said quite plainly, even back then, this was in the late '90s, I think, early 2000s. In Hollywood, you fail upward for whatever reason. It's just what happens.
Hmm.
And yeah, she's the perfect example. She's not alone. There are plenty who just keep failing upward. They keep getting more given to them, even though they keep bombing. some of it makes sense. Like the director of The Northman, whose name just escapes me. His movies don't make a lot of money, but he keeps getting movies because he's obviously talented, right? Uh that makes sense to me. She's not though. Like the movies that she's given and even her performances as an actress, they're not shaking the earth, right? That's not who she's just not. It's
Well, that
sorry to tell her, but
the
she's not.
Charlie's Angel one sticks in my craw
Oh, it's so bad.
because
So
I mean, that is such a simple thing. Just go back and look what the girls did with their reboot. They had two movies, right? The
yep.
reboot they did. It had the lineage girl, the legacy girl, Drew Barrymore,
Yep.
had little cute
Lucy.
little Asian Lucy Liu, and
Yep.
the girl who's never pretty, but she just
Cameron Diaz.
if you Cameron Diaz, yeah, when you get a couple drinks and she's cute and bouncy
See,
and
I thought
bubbly
you would
enough.
love Cameron Diaz. I thought she would be your type. She's tall, she's skinny, she's blonde. I thought that you like them skinny chicks. No?
No, I will demonstrate for you.
Now a young Cameron Diaz, like when she was in The Mask.
Even
In The
young,
Mask?
dude, they
Come
put a
on,
lot of
bro.
makeup on that chick.
Well, they always put makeup on them. Come
This girl is the epitome of crater face. She is absolutely destroyed face, young or old. She is
this
not
guy.
attractive physically. As far as her face, physically she's fine, and she's got that bubbly thing, and that's what gets her. That's what gets her the push. She's that kind of bubbly, cute little girl type of character that gets her the push.
Look up
And
Cameron Diaz, The Mask,
yeah,
because
well,
none of these
that's
pictures are
right here,
newer.
dude. This
Yes.
is when she was in the mask, and the makeup is not even doing the 100% of the job. You can
The
still see
worst
it.
part is, Chester, she was only like 19 there, and she
She
looks
was
like
young,
she's like
but
27.
she's got charisma. She has
Yep.
aura. She's bubbly, fun. I get it why she's popular. I have no trouble with Cameron Diaz, but she's not a hottie. She has to work for it, and she does. So good for her. But in that movie, the previous reboot of Charlie's Angels, with Drew Barrymore and particularly Lucy Liu, she was certainly the ugly duckling of that group. But I'm just saying we had that
Of
reboot.
course, an Asian chick shows up, and Chester's all
Hey now,
he's aghast. He
hey, don't
can't
you mess
control
with
himself.
Lucy. Uh, but the thing with it is, they got it though. They understood what Charlie's Angels was. Now they did do a spoof version of it, and they had fun with it, and it was fun. Big, huge air quotes, fun, right? But this nonsense from this lady, oh my God, dude. I mean, God, go away, woman, right? And she's so woke and she's so progressive. She can't shut up about it. Of course, this movie is super woke, but it's just, people just don't agree with you, ma'am. I think
Okay.
they don't. They don't. Most people would agree that yeah, abortion is a useful tool and it's good we have it, but it's not a happy thing. It's a sad thing. No matter the situation, there is no situation you can give me that I would cheer abortion in any situation. I
Yep.
could agree that it's necessary, but it's not a good thing. You are taking a life. You are.
True. It's very rare when taking a life is a good thing. Now,
It is.
there's occasions, but those usually involve that person doing something
Yeah, but it's
monstrous.
not even a good thing. It's just a necessity.
Well, yeah, but overall on the scale, it's a good thing because they're a monster, so you're
Yeah,
taking a
fair enough.
monster out.
But you know what I mean. Even
Yeah,
the most vile human being, we shouldn't celebrate the person's
but
death.
a baby, an innocent little baby who had nothing to do with anything, no matter the circumstance, he has nothing to do with it. That child, that fetus, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. It's
Oh, I
gonna be
hate
a
that
human
word
unless
fetus.
somebody
I hate that
I
word
know.
fetus.
Unless somebody intervenes, most likely it's gonna be a human. Uh they've done nothing wrong. So I agree with you. There's no reason that should be celebrated
No.
at all. And I actually know for a fact because one of my best friends, my actual best friend's wife is her whole life is dedicated to trying to stop women from having abortions,
Hmm.
not like violently or anything, but just, counseling them,
Information.
telling them there's
Yeah.
alternatives. She really works hard in those kind of things. And it's because she was in a bad situation when she was 16 and she chose to have the baby and give it up for adoption.
Yeah.
So she wants other women to understand that it's not the end of the world. You can do that if you don't want the child. Things like this.
Yeah, yeah,
But
no,
anyway,
and that's good. That's
but
nice that you
she's
have that.
really close to that, and she'll tell you that a lot of times for women, because she's unfortunately she had this happen to her, a miscarriage is devastating for the rest of their life, like for a lot of women.
It
And
is. It
even in abortion,
ruins marriages and lives.
yes, even abortions for a lot of these women,
Mm.
most women don't celebrate it.
No,
Most
the
women
truth. That's
absolutely
true.
hate it, and they never. And she knows for a fact because she's like I said, she does this work. Some women never forgive themselves for
Yeah.
it. Like
No,
they
no, it's a serious
genuinely
topic.
regret it.
It's
Yeah.
very, very serious. It's a hugely
So
serious
to
decision.
celebrate it is it's just
It's
grotesque.
grotesque,
It's
yes.
grotesque
It is.
to do that.
Yeah.
Like, we don't celebrate executing criminals. Maybe we
No.
should, but we
No.
don't do it.
No, we shouldn't.
And the reason is not so much because it's not enjoyable to watch evil people get what they deserve. It is, in fact, very enjoyable. But because it changes something in you. When you give into that level of malice,
Yeah.
you change.
And
They don't change. They're not gonna. They're dead. They're done changing. But
Right.
you change.
You do. And besides, if you really wanted to punish them, leave them in jail.
Well, yeah, but then you're punishing me because I got to pay for the sons of
Well,
bitches. Now,
So
can we make them slaves?
so you're saying doing the electric slide when Chris Cuomo gets killed? No good.
yeah, probably not. Yeah, probably not.
What
I'm
about
just that
Good for
Giuliani?
your
I
side.
can't
soul.
stand that
I
little
It's not
rat
good for
bastard.
your soul.
well, no, because I understand the necessity of death on occasion. I get it, but
Yeah.
I'm not a proponent of it. I understand war, but it's not something it would be the absolute last choice, right?
Yeah.
Right. But of course, that's not the truth when it comes to the politicians. But we're getting a little sideways on it. But it's just I- I- it's grotesque, dude. Anyway, let's move on to the for last couple minutes. I just wanted to take a look and see what kind of movies are coming because just look at the current movie trailers and see if there's anything interesting here. So yeah, no, got a couple Hallmark Christmas stuff, so Ben will be happy. Um, yeah, yeah, I have no clue. Strange World, some Disney thing. Okay. I haven't seen you in a while. You got to yell at me about something, probably.
Drink World actually looks. I've seen a couple commercials for that. Actually, looks like it could be decent.
Okay. We have another, Hallmark Christmas movie, Lady Chatterley's Lover. Now that was a softcore porn movie.
Yeah.
Basically back in the 70s when they were doing a lot of that, basically porn. Basically it was just soft porn.
Mhm.
Do you think we're going to get that in this?
Maybe.
I mean,
Could
I would
happen.
be
Well,
shocked. No, we probably get his ass.
Well, yeah.
I don't. This doesn't look interesting to me. Because I know this isn't going to be what it should be. I don't even know why you would remake it. It's just the porn. Why? What do we care about Lady Chatterley's Lover? I
Officially
saw
and
the
totally not.
Troll. Maybe. Father Stew. This thing has been around a little. This thing got pushed back, I guess.
Oh, no,
Uh,
no, they're re-releasing it for, holiday season, it looks
oh,
like.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
They've been doing a lot of that lately, re-releasing movies even the same year to try and bump up the revenue, 1 and 2
yeah,
certain times of the year can, help boost
it's not a bad
certain
idea.
types of movies.
We
Yeah.
don't need any more Walking Dead, thank you.
Oh, you're about to get a lot more.
We
The
don't
show's
need
gonna
it.
end, the original show, but now they're gonna do, like, 3 spinoffs from the
I won't
original
be
show.
watching it.
No.
Avatar not getting a lot of love.
I'll be honest with you, the recent trailer they just put out did not suck. I was stunned that I actually I said, "Huh, that
Yeah, but
actually looks
it's not
interesting."
getting a lot of love, dude. It really
No,
isn't.
I don't
Uh,
think it's definitely not gonna do what the first one did, that's for sure.
Ryan Reynolds in what? A Christmas movie?
It
Okay.
looks that way, yeah. Black Panther,
Fuck off. No more. Fuck off. No more. Fuck off.
Namor. My name's Namor.
not
So
not
dark
it's not no more.
materials.
It's Numar.
Yeah, well, whatever the hell it is. Julie. Okay. Okay. Don't know. Don't know.
And there is just
Don't care.
nothing.
Okay. Uh,
End of this year is rough.
it is. trying to see if there's anything that's really popping here. Okay. Willow?
They remade Willow.
They did.
Yes, they are, and
It's supposedly
it's
already out, I
Disney, so
guess.
it's dead on arrival.
DOA.
Yeah, it's release date October 31st, 2022. Huh. Didn't even heard anything about it. I'm not seeing much here. I'm seeing a bunch of Santa stuff, which is fine. For when you get the kids at home, it's fun. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well,
Jesus,
wait. Go up a second. So they're doing a Tim Allen, another Santa Claus movie with Tim Allen. Disney is.
I guess. Yeah.
Yet Disney canceled his show. What's going on with Disney?
Yeah,
That's weird.
yeah.
Because they fired him basically because, from what we understand, just because he was a conservative. Like his show was fine. It was like ninth or something in the ratings. It was doing fine, and they just shut it off on ABC, and he moved to Fox. That's weird. And now
Yeah.
he's doing a movie with them as
The
well.
right hand's not talking to the left, I guess. But
Weird.
you got Christian Bale in something. You have another female-led vampire thingy,
Can't come for Taco Tuesday.
Tina Bopper. Yeah. Um,
Oh.
Goodness gracious. Another Jack Ryan season 3. Okay, that's not a bad show actually. Boy, I'm just not seeing anything. It's like, ooh, I got to go to the movie. Anybody?
Nothing.
No.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything.
Nope.
Not even seeing shows that are interesting in any way.
That's Hugh Jackman doing something.
No, the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Yeah,
That
maybe.
actually might be
That
fun.
look fun.
That might be fun. Yeah.
There's one that I might want to see.
The problem it might have is from what we've seen of it, it's focused on Drax and Manus. And I don't know if they carry a show by themselves.
It's
I
just
don't
got to
know.
be like a little 1 hour thingy, dude.
We'll see.
Yeah. And it's got the legendary Kevin Bacon in it.
That's
So,
true. That'll be the best part when
That's
he's
to
in
be
it.
the best thing. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Okay. All right. 1899. I don't know what that is.
Wait, Ant-Man and the Wasp is out already?
No. I think it's when the
Oh,
trailer
that's the
was
trailer.
released. I
Okay.
think I was
Gotcha.
wrong up there.
That's it. Wait a minute.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe. Mighty Ducks. Why?
Mel Gibson movie.
Please,
Hold on.
why?
Mel
Gibson.
though.
This movie's already out. You can actually go watch this. He plays a radio host whose family's been taken, and he's got to do some shit online to try to help them survive or something like that. They got David Tennant back as Doctor Who. It's not going to help. People are
For
done.
3 whole episodes, yay.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why they did it, but it's so dumb. Because, okay, let's say everybody comes back and watches those 3 episodes. They're not going to stay. They're there for him. You dummies.
Yeah.
They want to watch him as the Doctor. You should have
Yeah.
threw all kinds of money at him and got him for longer.
Yeah, no, that's the truth because he's probably the best doctor as far as most people are concerned. Now, however, there is one here. We finally come to one. All Quiet on the Western Front. Now, this movie's in German, but of course it has subtitles. This movie, I've already seen it, right? And so it's already out. This movie is, wow, dude, it's breathtaking. It's brutally breathtaking. It's the first real World War I movie ever made. I'll say that. It's ridiculously good, dude, and it sticks to the book pretty well. Because All's Quiet on the Western Front is basically World War I from the German point of view, and it's taken through the eyes of a young man who's very excited to go to the war as a German boy, and the whole thing is through his eyes, right? And of course, it's a great book. A lot of us had to read it when we were school children or high school kids. But this the thing is, I can't recommend this movie for everyone. Like for instance, Thundero, I don't know if you want to watch this with your wife, dude.
Yeah.
It's brutal. As it should be. I mean, it's a real look at war, and it should be brutal. But damn, dude. Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, no, of course he's doing grandpa action films. That's his proper
Well,
age.
he's a grandpa.
He's still
Yeah, he's
awesome.
old.
Yeah.
Still Mel.
Still Mel Gibson, dude. Let's see here. Titans season 4. I thought that was canceled.
It should have
Should have
been,
been.
but no, it hasn't been. Oh
Return
yeah,
to
that Man Called Otto movie. I forgot that was a thing. Yeah,
That's Tom
I remember
Hanks,
seeing
buddy.
trailers.
Yeah, that could.
Yeah.
He's usually pretty solid. The Silent Hill movie. Some Wednesday thing. Whatever. Just there's a lot of crap, dude. Look at all this crap. So much
Garbage.
crap. But some of a good chunk of what we're seeing here is just kind of Christmas Hallmark family stuff, and that's fine. I mean, if you got kids at home, these things are fine. Welcome to Chippendales. Alrighty. Well, I would rather welcome to Playboy, please. Okay. But we won't get that, of course. Young Royals, Feed Me. This is out already. A lot of these, now this thing, Enola Holmes, 2. The first one flopped. How do we get a second one? Which is shocking. But it's like, why would we want a female Sherlock Holmes? It's like, dude, there's this lady. There's this little lady you might have heard of. Maybe. Her name is called Agatha Christie. You ever heard of
That's
her?
right.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
lady. She's pretty famous lady when it
I
comes
think
to crime
she's like
drama. A little bit.
the #1 selling crime drama series of all time.
Probably.
Think so? She's
Sir,
She's right near there.
yeah,
She's
well,
right up at that level.
she's up there. I mean, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is probably similar, but yeah, she probably got a beat because she's done more stuff, right? He just did one thing. But yeah, that lady. She's written some really good stuff. I love Perot. But she had another thing that, what was it called? They made a TV show of it there. What was it called? Murder, She Wrote with Angela Lansbury.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that one that went for, what, I don't know, 88 seasons? I
Ever.
have no clue.
Yeah, it
Forever,
might even still be going. They have a
right?
hologram of her up there just doing it.
Right,
Forever that goes
exactly.
on.
But it's just, there are some really famous, really well written female detectives. Why
Yeah.
don't you do that one? Why do you need a female Sherlock Holmes? Especially with the ugly girl from Stranger Things.
Because
Well,
it's
and
the
then
scalp they
also,
want.
well, they also have Henry attached to it as well because he plays Sherlock in the
He
first one,
does.
and he's in
And
this
he's a
one too.
joke. Yeah, I get it.
And I think that is the main reason that you're getting a second one is because Henry's real hot the last couple years. So I think that is
Maybe.
kind of what pushed it over.
Maybe.
Plus they, for whatever reason, Hollywood loves Millie Bobby Brown.
Maybe
Loves
that's true,
her.
Ben.
Can't
Yeah.
get enough of her. And are pushing her to the moon. They got the Roman Reigns rocket up her ass. And they think she's the next hotness, right? The next big thing.
Well, I haven't seen her act as an adult. Maybe she is good.
I don't think she is that. But if that's what Hollywood wants to throw their money after, they do this every so often with these females. They pick one and they just throw everything at her and let her run for a while, and then they just shuffle her off to the corner like Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah. Well, but
That is probably her fate. Will say one interesting thing that I heard about because I was in a Henry Cavill rabbit hole last couple days. Apparently their relationship, their friendship, she called it relationship for some reason, is very strict. He has very strict rules around her. She's 18, so I mean they can do whatever they wanted, but he has very strict rules around very specific people apparently, because, well, we all know why, but I just found that very interesting that she was so open and upfront about it, how he will just basically tell her, no, shut up. If she starts asking him questions he doesn't want to answer, like about his private life or whatever. I just find that interesting. I think Henry is just a dude, and I think I might be homosexually in love with him. I'll be honest with you. Yeah.
I do notice Creed 3. I didn't even know there was a Creed 2.
Don't even waste your time. Creed 2 is actually really good. Creed 3, they screwed Sylvester Stallone out of his own movie franchise, so he's not even in it.
Oh, okay. I didn't even
Yeah.
know.
How much sense does that damn make? He's
doesn't.
supposed to be the Mickey of the story, and he's just gone. He's not there now.
Although the trailer for Oni looks kind of interesting. It's a little like claymation thing. Let's see here. You got news. Stallone's been busy lately, huh?
Yeah,
busy.
He's back to working. He took a little break there for a while for whatever reason.
They're re-releasing In Theory's A Christmas Story. Huh.
No. This is a new Christmas Story. It's a sequel.
Oh, is it?
It's called A Christmas Story Christmas. I don't know why it's called that, but that's what it's called.
Is he getting a little Red Rider again?
And he's an old man now. He's a full-grown man, and he's trying to create Christmas like he remembers it, basically, is the idea.
Yeah, no,
And from
I
the
see what you're
trailer of
saying,
it
but
I saw, it looks like a Wine Mom movie. So
oh well,
take that for what you will.
that's fine.
Yeah.
You just stick to your go after a demographic, right?
Yep.
But yeah, no, it makes sense, man. But it is just kind of silly. But it's also why I haven't spoken about Namor very much with Wakanda Forever, because people are getting all bent out of shape. But the reason why they did that is because they don't own the rights to Namor. That's why.
That's right.
That's why.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Amongst
that
others,
simple. Yeah.
Or Atlantis, apparently.
Or Atlantis. But yeah, they don't own the rights. So I guess the people in Old Hulk have that for some reason.
Which kind of sucks because I don't hate the name they chose. I just hate that they chose it for Namor. Like, but I wouldn't mind if they had Talokan somewhere else.
Yeah, just give them make them something completely different and new. Just go for it, right? I mean, but because they're basically cheating. It's a kind of fraud, right? They're stealing the name that they don't own the right to. They're stealing it by just simply pronouncing it differently and putting a different color. This is what they're doing. They're stealing, right? It's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, but it's kind of
always done
dude.
that.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Like
it's
all the classic
up.
Disney movies everybody likes. Yeah, those are ripoffs. They didn't pay the original creators for that shit. There was lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit over it. They didn't pay those people. The Cinderella, the Little Mermaid, that stuff. No, they didn't pay nobody. No.
Yeah.
Now, I think eventually they did lose a couple of those cases and had to fork it over, but at the start, they didn't want to pay nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, of course not. But it's just dirty pool, dude. It's dirty pool.
Yeah. Disney, they're dirty.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Dirty since Walt died, and probably while Walt was alive, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I do need to get on because I got to go to work, but I will end it with this over here. That little movie, The Accursed. I've already seen it. And that's not a bad little horror movie, dude. It's not bad. Just understand The Accursed. There are many movies with this title. Look for this particular red one with a hand coming up. It's not a bad little horror movie, actually. I suggest it. Yeah.
Well, you don't want to watch the English because I'm sure that's a well balanced and nuanced take on colonialism in America.
Oh no, I'm sure it is. Yeah. The Bastard Son and the Devil Himself is already out. I haven't seen it. I tried because this has got magic in it. This is like a fantasy thing. The Bastard Son and the Devil Himself. I tried. Oh my God, I couldn't get through 5 minutes. It was so dumb. It was so dumb, dude. Remaking Matilda the musical. Alrighty then, little French girl.
That's gonna be tough. Matilda is a classic for a reason.
Yeah, well, no, it is, and even the boys have seen Matilda. It's a girl thing, but yeah, it's the little French girl, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not a lot, dude. The Mosquito, you remade that. The season 2, they turned it into a TV show. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Shaman things with the girls, even though I hate to tell you this, druids were men. Oh, sorry.
Don't tell.
What am I doing?
Let them have their fantasies.
God damn it!
Because you see, in modern Western fantasy, for some reason, druids are always women. I don't know why, but they always are. It seems
they are. It's really weird. But we're getting into stuff that's a lot of stuff's already out. School of Good and Evil is already out. It's 100% female centric. 100%. Doesn't mean it's not good. It doesn't.
Bullet Train's good. Go watch Bullet Train. I can endorse that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that a lot of the problem with we're real gun shy, right? Because there's a lot of female only or female centric stuff. And a decade ago we wouldn't think about it. We just go watch it, either like it or not, right? We wouldn't think about it. But these days, every time I see it, it was like, well, is there an agenda behind that? Is there politics behind that? Why did they do that? Right? Every little thing we're questioning. And it's unfortunate because it could be great. I don't know. This is obviously a teeny bopper thing, but that doesn't mean it's bad. But we just,
Yeah, Howell Comics over here, he's right. That's what they should have done with Namor. They should have just let him be Asian like he's supposed to be and make him from Mu. I like that idea. That's what they should have done.
Yeah.
That would have made way more sense.
But he wants Michael B. Jordan to play Christopher Columbus. I'm on board.
I want that.
Do not give Canada.
I want him to be I want him to be the entire fictional version that the left has, for some reason, concocted of Christopher Columbus. I want him the full-on genocidal tyrant,
Yeah.
eating people, just the monster that they think he was. I
Yeah.
want that, and I want Michael B. Jordan to play him.
Sure. But of course, the reality is that guy literally
Absolutely.
died from stress of trying to deal with all the criminals that were sent over by the crown and him trying to keep him in line. Poor guy.
Correct.
I mean, the absolute character assassination of Christopher Columbus is quite disgusting, dude.
It
Because
is.
he was the dude who was actually fighting to protect the locals, dude.
That's right.
God damn it.
That's action. And it's easy to find this stuff out. Just go read the people who are alive. They wrote about it. They were there.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not
we
a
have
mystery.
documents. We have documents. We don't even need opinion. We just could read the documents. But
right.
whatever, they do hate Christopher Columbus for some reason. Poor guy. But whatever. He wasn't what you think he was anyway. He was part of a propaganda plot anyhow.
Oh, don't. You're just asking for a bullet. You think Japan could protect you, but they got big guns now.
They do. That's true. Long distance ones. But nevertheless, I do need to go to work. I am pushing. Well, I mean, don't get me on the damn Tartarian stuff. What did I tell you? Goodness gracious! But if you guys are interested in some interesting information, I did a Kamala Harris.
Oh God.
Yeah. Go check out Star Forts.
Uh-oh.
That's fun.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
All I know, Chester, is that October 10th was Columbus Day.
Uh-huh.
We're coming up to about a month after. Maybe we could fix the record on old Christopher Colombo himself.
I could do a presentation, a tinfoil hat on Chris. I could.
Yeah, because he's been seriously maligned. It
He
is
has.
shocking how bad they've been after Christopher Columbus for no other reason than the dude just got lost. That's his crime. That was his biggest crime. He got lost.
Well, that's not
He
true.
went to the wrong place.
No, he was sent. But anyway, I could do a tinfoil hat on that, and tinfoil talk, and I could also bring up into there why America's called America, and it's not what you think
Now,
it
that's
is.
the deep stuff.
Yeah,
That's the stuff they won't tell you in the history books, right
it's
there.
true. That's true. Which is weird because if you go ask any native, they know.
Yeah.
Right. It's weird. But anyway, I gotta go. So Grimlock, say something.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Well, that was
something.
That was nice.
That was quick. It was
It's
to the
nice.
point. It was concise. I'm gonna stall because I didn't have my little thing open
He's
or the
a-
one I wanted to say.
He's a gentleman.
He is. He's a gentleman and a man of gentilianess. Gentilian. I can't even say the word. But I do have something for you, Chester. I have something for you.
Okay.
I have something to say to you, and it goes like this.
Okay.
The wicked can pretend to virtue, but the virtuous never will.
Ooh. Namaste.
Say.
Later, everybody.